Hey, welcome to Full 42. Oh, look at you. You switched me. I'm supposed to be over there.
All right, so then you just do this.
There you go. Threw me off. I had the whole welcome and all. I had a little thing.
Even your Schwartz twisted.
I know. I wanted to start the show with you. I removed you during the intro because you cut me off. So I wanted it to come up and you not even be there, but I thought, why not?
I almost always cut you off right whenever I hit the button. I wait for you to start saying something and then I cut you off. So this is Full 42, a bunch of geeks talking about geek stuff. Today we're doing, we're going to be arguing about what worker placement is, basically. Top 5 worker placement games. And we've got special guests. Are they special after a while?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're guests. My mom says I was special.
There you go.
Right.
Very special guests. Mike and Tam from Board Game Rundown.
Hey, that's us.
Hey, woohoo. Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys can make it. I've been looking forward to this one for a hot minute.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about top 5 worker placement games.
Woohoo!
Which is basically any game at this point because everybody argues that every game is worker placement.
Sure.
Not every game is worker placement.
It's not, but
You don't say.
if you do,
I do say.
if you do the BGG thing, there are things in that list that are clearly not worker placement.
Yeah, I don't know if who submits that. Is it like the designer or the publisher?
Anybody. You can go in there right now and mark every game worker placement if you want.
So it's just like Wikipedia.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then
Okay.
the publishers, they can come in and ask for
And
corrections
change it.
and stuff.
Okay.
But I mean,
I'm actually
it gets
working on
like
that
really quickly. You could go into like anything and edit, and it'll get, if it's incorrect, it'll get edited really quickly.
So I'm going to add Magic the Gathering to my list real quick. Just because that's like the least worker placement kind of game I could think of.
Absolutely worker placement. 100%.
I already submitted worker placement as a mechanism for cashing guns, so we'll see what happens.
Perfect.
On
That'll-
BGG.
That'll go well.
Well done.
Looping Louis.
Yeah.
Looping Louis,
Famously worker placement.
He's the worker.
The better version is Looping Chewy. I mean, let's go.
It
Yeah.
is. But there's only 3 players in Looping Chewy, right?
Yeah, but you can do 2 sets of it.
Oh, okay.
I
It's
think
a stronger
you can
worker
put it
placement.
together. But it's definitely worker placement because you're placing the stormtroopers to set up the game.
What
right?
they should have done was they should have made it little porgs, because instead of hitting the chickens,
Have his
You
mouth
scoop-
open as
you
it comes
scoop-
by.
yeah, and the porgs just look really sad as he eats them. I love it.
That came out before Force Awakens, though, didn't it?
It did, but
Yep.
I think so. But what you
remember
could do
if it did
is
or not.
have porg stickers made and put them over the stormtroopers on the discs.
look at that.
And then he's slamming into them with the Falcon.
So,
Oh.
that's what you should expect basically for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
is talking about stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm always excited hanging out with you guys. It's been too long. Although I think this is now, your 4th time on the show?
That's
is
what
it?
Is it 4?
I think it's 4. And Chris, how many
Wow.
times have you been on the rundown?
0. I was asked
hey.
once. I was asked once about an hour before the show,
Wow.
but I was asked once.
All right.
Well, look. I have a
I'll let
list.
Tim answer.
I have a list of names. Look, we were lining up guests.
Oh yeah, I
Look
see
at
who's at the bottom with a bunch of question marks. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause we gotta ask
underneath
you.
the line, Chris. You're under the line.
under the line. Yeah,
That line was because we were excited about Katia being on. That's Katia.
I'm not even on the list.
that's where the
you're
bar
always-
is. I'm
You're
below
up
the
here,
bar.
you're always on the other side. You're always on the list. You are the
get
list.
I am the list. I don't.
Googs is the list. And then everybody else shows up.
So I have an idea. We Mike originally said that there was a chance we would play Asking Troubles tonight, time permitting, of course. If that doesn't happen, then you should teach it on our show. First appearance.
That could work too.
Be fun.
We could have Googs on too, just in case Chris needed the buffer.
Chris, I'll tell you, you need a buffer when you're on your show for sure.
Yeah. Well, there was. I think the last time I was on a show by myself, I was so low energy that I bored myself. So you might need
Oh.
for me to make fun of. Yeah.
You can actually go back and watch it. It's a live show. It lasted about 14 and a half minutes.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about this one. And that one was
Oh.
not great either. No, it was an interview that I did. This poor guy asked me he loved troubles and stuff. I was like, yeah, sure. And I got on there. Just for whatever reason, I was like, yep, that's what I did. Like, it was just so miserable. Like, I was such the worst guest ever. I felt so bad about it. Kind of want to go back, but, you know. What are you gonna do?
mean, to your credit, at least you recognize, like, hey, maybe I wasn't bringing it. You know, like, that's fine. It wasn't like, oh, this guy was awful. It sucked. You know, what a miserable experience.
Yeah, no, he was great. And so I don't even want to say that it is because he's had other stuff going on, and you know, no reason to look up the bad one.
Yeah,
But,
no, Tom Vassell will be fine. I think he's doing okay.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll move on.
I've not been on the Dice Town.
Tim,
Yo,
thank you for wearing the hoodie.
what's up? I finally got it from Mike. It took, I don't know, I think Mike had it for 2 months before he gave it to me.
I don't know about 2 months. That's a little extreme.
Definitely. I sent that a while ago.
More than a month, less than 2, perhaps.
I don't have a hoodie. Where's my hoodie?
You have to come and get it. That was the deal. You had to come and get it.
You didn't have to come and get it.
He's coming to get it. He got a ticket. He's coming. He's coming.
Yeah, I've already got my I got a roommate lined up for QsCon. I'm ready to go.
You sure do.
I got a roommate. I don't have a room yet, but we're working on that.
See, that's
VIP badge purchase.
That's the trick. Is you find the roommate. You find the high profile guest. You latch on.
Yeah.
You ask them in a way that they can't say no, because it would just be really awkward and uncomfortable.
Also, Mike, you have a room. You just want a double room, not a king, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'd bring an air mattress if it came down to it. So
Sure.
make a lot work. I'd even do an Airbnb. Don't care.
Well, I have a meeting with the hotel tomorrow about
Nice.
the one in March, and we're going to talk a little bit about the one in September.
Sweet.
But I'll
You're talking about QsCon.
Mhm.
QsCon, yeah, the logo that Tim's wearing, supporting.
Sure. I just wanted
We'll be there.
so that, you know, other people can know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's in September. It's the 19th to the 22nd. The 4 days at the Collegian in Syracuse. Definitely focused. Yeah. Definitely focused on. Good to see you, Dave. Small vendor hall, some panels.
It's in Vermont, right?
Guests and stuff. It's in central New York. Good job.
Same area.
And Chris will be here along with Mike and Tim.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
In spirit.
You'll be here.
It is
Are you sending me plane tickets?
just shy of a 9-hour drive for us.
I'll tell you what, Chris, you get to Northern Indiana and you can ride with me and my roommate.
Probably
No,
got the same trip.
Yeah. So, before we jump into stuff, usually we hit announcements, right?
Yep.
Oh, and I'm supposed to hit one of these things. By the way, on your show, Mike, whenever I wasn't there, did a great job of putting the like and subscribe stuff on there.
Thank you. I knew I'd be critiqued, so I wanted to make sure.
You mentioned
Although I know I fucked up at some point. I think twice. Once at the end, and then once in the middle. I forgot to change something up. But
Yeah, I never mess any of this stuff up.
no, you never do. Also, I was talking to Richard Lania, so I was a little like, I wasn't really focused too much on that stuff. I was focused more on that conversation. So.
I was so mad that I had to get up at 3:30 the Tuesday after your Richard Lania show because I didn't get to watch it live, and I wanted to like comment and geek out and fanboy, and I'm like, of all days. But yeah, man, that's awesome. That was very cool. What a huge get.
He's super fun. Him and I are working on Batman again. We're trying to make the base game and the expansion just bridge together and make one big thing for someone who's interested. And then we're working on another Batman game together. So
that must have come back to you from IDW, right?
The rights did. We don't have the license, obviously, right? We have the game. We just don't have the license. But this other company has the license, so they reached out to Richard and him and I.
So you wouldn't even have to do a retheme then. You could just straight up.
Correct.
Nice.
Yeah,
Because at least you. Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say because at least if you got the rights back, you could reskin it if you wanted, you know. But
it's something that he and I talked about because originally that game was Avengers. We had made it Avengers because it was based on that. If you know the story, it was based on that little math game that I made for the math. When I had the tutoring center, some math kids for mental math, and that's how Richard and I kind of like we built up our friendship through when it was Dice Tower Con, not Dice Tower East. And then I made this game for a couple of the kids and asked him if he'd work on it. So originally that game, that little math game, was Age of Ultron based, where there was the bomb in the center and you were protecting it. And then he and I worked it out. So I have it downstairs. The original game is under the Avengers license, and it was the battle in New York with the Chitauri and everything. So when we talked about it, it was like, well, why don't we find? And Marvel games are just there's so many of them now with the Marvel games. When we talked about it, it was like, we'll just make a better game. And that was his whole thing. Like, Batman was good. We'll just make a better one. So we weren't really worried about it when IDW went down. We'll just work on a better one. And now a company had reached out and said, hey, are you interested? So through that, we have another one going. But he also, after the show, we talked a little bit about stuff. And he's like, anytime, like, same thing that Chris and I met after the show. He's like, I could talk about gaming and stuff for hours. So anytime you need a guest.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I love him.
That's so cool. That is so cool. And here's the other thing.
Right, Richard Lanius right above my name on that list.
Yeah. Well, now, damn it, Couch Mike. Now we've got to get Chris on ASAP so then we can hit up Googs for Lanius as soon as we can. But no, the cool thing is, like I was just thinking about this as you're talking, is like anything, when you made Batman with him, like just think of how much better a designer and developer you're going to be this go around, right? With all the experience and the seasoning and everything you've seen in the hobby and, and how it's evolved. And like, so that's really exciting, man. That's really exciting.
Yeah. That game came out in 2018. So we were working on it at the end of 2017, and I was still new to the industry, right? I was still playing fairly good stuff with my neighbors and I hit up the con a couple times. I think I went to Dice Tower from 2013 was the first time I went to like a big convention. And then he and I, built up the friendship and we started working on that in 17. So in that amount of like working with him for my first game in the Batman animated world is just stupid. Like it sounds stupid to say, but talking about like, and we were doing it through emails. Like it was, here's pictures of our playtest, and I would send an email and then he would respond back. And all the things that I was like, this would be so cool to do and it would be awesome. And he's like, yeah, you don't want to do that because of this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, oh shit, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, all right, well, we should do this because this would be awesome. And he's like, yeah, but then you're going to do this and that and the other thing, and that's going to suffer this. And I'm like, God, you're so good. So learning from him the first go around was, I mean, it's priceless. It's absolutely priceless.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, he's a super smart when it comes to design stuff, like thinking about it without it having to be on paper, like working it out in his head to be like, oh, that'll work, or oh no, that won't work because of this, but if we did this, it would work, without like a scratch pad, like just talking it out. He'd be like, no, this is solid. And then you put it into practice and sure enough, like it worked.
There's a game right there.
Yeah, but he's been doing it for a minute too. Fun fact, I don't know if you know, but he won a contest. I might have said this when I was on the show, for the Chicago White Sox uniform. They were doing a redo and they were taking submissions for designs, and he won. I believe it was the one with the batter, like the long, like letterbox one.
Yeah, it says Sox.
Yeah. So if you look it up, you'll see a picture of him like on the field unveiling the jersey and the uniform and everything.
He designed one of my favorite worker placement games, Defenders of the Realm.
Yep. We talked about that on the show too. So I thought the new one is it is a worker placement game because you're putting workers on a board. The new one that's coming out, Legends Retold, is actually a different, like, he's like, don't sell your old one. Like, it's not going to replace the old one. It's going to be different. And the new game coming out from Arcane, Freedom 5, is got that engine. It's got the Defender engine, which I didn't know either.
Yeah, Defenders like totally wrecked Pandemic for me. Never need to play Pandemic ever again. Defenders was so much cooler. Defenders: The Last Stand is also awesome. Yeah, no, that's very cool. That's very cool. It is our goal after we have Chris Strain on to one day have Richard Lanius on. That would be amazing.
I mean, I did get a text from him just now. He said he's got to be ahead of Chris. So.
Oh, well.
Makes sense.
Here's the thing. Is Chris going to be at QSCon performing Barbie Girl with Aqua? Because if so, priorities.
I would drop everything for that.
As you should.
100%.
Yeah, that is an experience I would not miss for family.
No one wants that.
Hold on.
False. I think there's 3 people on the show right now.
So much regret would be happening.
No,
Listen, do I look like a guy that's made a lot of really good life choices? Let's go.
I hope that's not the line because I got another room full of walls like that.
Yeah, this is just one
We all
small
do.
section of my.
All right, so let's jump into the announcements, which includes a fun Luca painting and stuff. You have before the Luca painting, you have anything? Anybody have announcements? Stuff to talk about? Crickets.
I have one.
There you go. Do one.
And I didn't. Well, I'll tell you this live. I'm going to be at Gamma in a couple weeks, which is a dumb Monday. It's a week expo.
Dumb.
Hate that.
Terrible.
But
Terrible.
I'll be there Sunday. The Sunday it starts. Monday night, and I'm doing demo night, which is 9 to midnight. So I will not be be able to do the show, even remotely, on the 3rd. So maybe.
All right. Well, you're gonna get to see the boring looking version of me where I don't get to make fun of Mike. Then.
I look forward to that 14-minute and 73-second because the math doesn't work there. Version of the Chris show where he just.
I'll be at the demo night. I'll be at a table. I can stream it, so I'll show everybody the what you're doing. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But
Looks
other than
like
that,
an
I got
awkward
Luca
experience
painting, and I think that's all I have. I don't think anything else is going on. So
Anything the board game rundown want to talk about?
Oh, guys, we got so much stuff. I'll just go real quick. We've got at least 6 weeks, maybe 7, in a row of having guests in studio. I mean, Katya is going to be there. We're going to have
7.
the what?
I like it. You said maybe 7.
Maybe 7.
Talking about this guy.
Yeah, maybe that guy. We keep our streak going. We almost had a whole month of Canadians. It was like really close.
Very.
I can add a at the end of sentences if that helps.
We're
Can you
1
wear a
week
toque?
away.
Sorry.
But this week we're gonna have Kim Breeze from Tabletop Rebellion, and we're gonna do top 10 80s and 90s characters. We're gonna have Reed on. We're gonna have Arwen Cathcay on to talk about Shelf of Shame. We're gonna have James Wings from
10 Robot.
10 Robot. Thank you. Katya is gonna be on. We're gonna have the I almost call them kids. They're not kids. They're adults, but they're kids to me. From Parakeet Griffin on. We're going to play games with them. We got all kinds of fun stuff coming up on the lives every Wednesday. So be there.
Nice.
The talking about your guests, just to plug this one, a couple weeks ago, and I think twice in a row, you had Seppi on.
Yeah.
Awesome. They were awesome. But Friday, West and I played Conquest Princess. I played it for the first time. West has been playing it like crazy.
Yeah.
The game's super cool.
It's wild. It is
the video
wild.
does not do it justice because it doesn't fit on West. Like if it's huge. It's got a big table footprint with all the puzzle boards that you're fighting with, and then your player boards that you're playing with. But I was really I wasn't shocked that I liked it so much. I know Chris would hate it because it's fully co-op. But the challenge that we played with the Mechapede, I think it is.
Oh yeah.
Necropede.
Yeah, the Necropede.
My God. Super, super fun. The Kickstarter goes till Friday. So if you're watching this now, go check out Conquest Princess. I think the manufacturing, the pieces look great. The acrylic pieces, that tactile feel of pulling stuff out of the bag and hitting or missing or critical missing, like all of those really fun things that are going on in games is happening.
And just support Fight in a Box anyways, right? Seppi's awesome. Support your independent, publishers. Yeah, Seppi is so funny. He's so open. I just love talking to him. I message him kind of like I message. Well, sorry, Chris. I message Mike, the mics more than I do you. I apologize. That's not awkward. But I message Seppi all the time about random stuff. Hey, blah blah blah. You know, like the nice thing is, I reached out, sort of cold called him about coming on at Gen Con and like seeing us at the booth. And we've kind of been friends ever since, like fast friends. Again, amazing thing about the hobby, how that can happen.
Yep.
And yeah, so yeah, good call. Conquest Princess, check it out. A few days left. It's really good.
We streamed the TTS of that, and then the week after that, we did top 10 robots with him.
Oh,
That might have
Seppi.
been one of my favorite episodes of all time. It was really funny.
We did a battle royale. It was Seppi's idea. Well, you stole it, inspired by the Hungry Gamer. Will did a thing on his show where they battle and they argue their points. And so we battled, and at the very end I fell into Seppi's trap, but I can't even be mad about it because it was so brilliantly laid and crafted. So let me just say, my number one robot was Roy Batty from Blade Runner, and I thought Roy could not be beat. I had the whole Tears in the Rain monologue written down. You know, I'm like, look, this is how good this is. And no, Seppi got me.
Oh, he got you. He got
that
you.
bastard. He got
How'd
me.
he beat you? How'd he beat
Because
the
his number one robot was the Conquest Princess.
Oh,
So I couldn't win.
No, there was no winning. There was
Fair
no
enough.
beating that.
He said that. I was like, you son of a bitch.
And
'Cause
of
I
course, he has
just-
influences of all the robots he had mentioned on his list prior in his game. So it's like, how can you? All right, fine, checkmate, got it. Move
I came
along.
in so cocky because I was like, my list is so damn good. I ain't losing. And yeah.
you had a pretty broad term for robot then.
Yeah, so we had different so it had to be
Artificial life form is pretty
had to
much
be programmed, had to have parameters. I guess Seppi decided like it could be piloted as long as it still kind of had its own brain. So the Pacific Rim
so mechs and everything, or
yeah, kind of counted. Mike's his ace he pulled was the autopilot from Airplane.
Somebody had to program that thing to fly the airplane. And I got to tell you, how it
funny.
received fellatio in that movie was top notch. So
Yeah. I was really I had Ash from Alien, that one won. I had Crow T Robot from MST3K.
not
I had
Bishop?
Marvin, huh?
Ash over Bishop?
I picked Ash because Ash was the surprise. Bishop wasn't as much of a surprise. Ash was like the first one where you're
But he
like,
was
surprise
heroic.
robot.
He was
Huh?
heroic. That was the surprise, was that Bishop was heroic, right?
Was heroic. Yeah, no, and that was great. But I just really loved how evil Ian Holm was
I get it.
in that. It was so good. But yeah, I mean, could have been a coin flip either way. I had Marvin, the paranoid android from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
He's great.
Depressed android. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Mike had IG-11 that won. Mike had Tom Servo that won. I was really upset because Seppi said the power loader from Aliens, and I'm like, that does not have its own.
That's not no.
oh, and I chose that one even though I didn't think it was that good of a pick for a valid robot. I hadn't watched the movie for the robot you picked, so I just defaulted to his.
Yeah, boo. I had like Vincent and Bob and Maximilian from The Black Hole, the old Disney movie. And
Wait, nobody said Data?
no,
no Data?
Data's an android. Oh wait, no, androids were allowed. Cyborgs were not. No, I left Data off because
replicants are allowed.
I thought Data somebody else was going to pick Data, so I didn't do Data because I was like, oh, it's so obvious somebody's going to pick
List
Data.
is valid.
I did have the Bill and Ted robots from Bill and Ted 2. But
Well, all right. So that was
Can I just say something?
okay.
Tim, can you look at the screen for a second?
what? Lobot?
Robot. Cyborg, dude. That's not a
Yeah,
robot.
he's a cyborg.
No, I don't give a shit about that. I'm just saying we talk about you being from Aqua all the time. Have we not mentioned that Tim looks like Lobot right now?
Listen, just because I'm getting money from Star Wars. Hold on a second.
I mean,
Let me
come
help with
on.
this.
Yes. Mike, you need the little wrist thing the Lando has to program him.
How?
Oh, that's
How did
amazing.
how did that not come up?
Hold on. I got to land somebody at Cloud City real quick.
Okay, yeah, this is you on your job. This is you working.
That's great.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Well, you got
That's
your next
perfect.
cosplay.
No
Easy.
doubt. That'd be so easy. I just
Easy.
retrofit some headphones, get a priest collar and a gray shirt, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right,
That's awesome.
there's my announcement. Tim is now Lobot.
What would you do if I showed up to QSCon dressed like that?
I would take pictures.
Did you ever
I would
see
think-
the Robot Chicken one where he starts listening to music and he's all dancing, holding
right,
the
right.
headphones?
I can't unsee it now.
Me neither. I feel like I've been living a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't here last week. I was in LA, and I was actually on camera though. I went on the Cardboard Alchemy channel on
Oh, nice.
Friday, last Friday.
Nice.
So, me on there with Peter Vaughn talking about our top 5 sci-fi games.
Very cool. What was your number one?
Merchant of Venus.
Nice. Haven't played. Heard great things.
Yeah, there's the newest version had the classic kind and the new kind, and I only played the classic one, so I can only say that version. So,
Fair.
But yeah, so that was a fun show and stuff. So I still had to end up being in front of a camera, whether I liked it or not. No, I'm just kidding. That was fun.
That's the thing about Chris. He's always an enthusiastic guest.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I guess I'll be on here. No, it was a fun show though. So go check that out. Let's see. Okay, so we got you got the picture ready? You get the picture?
Yeah, Lucas picture? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the big one. Oh. Yeah, we got Luca paintings.
Look at that. That's
So Mike's 2-year-old likes to give us paintings. If you haven't seen this before, does them quite often, and we like to look at them like Rorschachs and discuss what we see in them. And comments, please tell us what you see.
This
What we
one's
got
not
here?
gonna be-
The last one was pretty dark. I hope this one's a little sunnier. I don't know what you.
Did you see the one from Richard's show?
Oh, I don't remember if I saw that. Oh yeah, the Cthulhu one. Yeah. I saw it immediately too. I was like, oh, that's Cthulhu.
That was from last week.
Yeah, it's Cthulhu.
Oh yeah, that's Cthulhu. There's no doubt.
I can't unsee Cthulhu, but when he's painting it, he said it was a frog. Like, he didn't have this on there. He painted that, and he said frog, and then he painted this by himself. But then Richard's like, well, I see Cthulhu, and I'm like, well, yep, now I can't fucking unsee it.
Yep.
It was really fun.
Yep.
All right. So what's our Luca painting this time?
All right, so this one, so I did something different with the last couple that he's done. Last dozen.
Yeah, because they've been dark lately. I think before that I said it was something like a chicken blowing its brains out or something. I forget what it was.
Yeah. You go dark. It's what you see. It's not what he sees.
Other people saw some dark stuff. I'm just
Uh-huh.
saying.
So the last few that he's done have been one color. Where he's normally adding like multiple colors and it can kind of get messy and whatever. So this one he did today.
I see orange. Ooh. All right.
It's a bird. I see a
Yeah.
bird's head at the end.
I know. I see like a phoenix,
And
a
the
bird.
eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I see the Phoenix as well, like the flames and the smoke up at the top. As it's kind of like
It's got
flying
one
out.
with a turkey neck. So
Yeah, it does.
low
I
bot.
see Lobot. You're looking at the wrong screen. Look one up, one square up, and you should not see Lobot.
I
that's
mean,
not
just
allowed
because
on
of
our
the
channel.
color, you could
Agreed.
turn that a certain configuration and get canyons somewhere in Utah or rock formations.
Now
Because
that
of
looks
the
like a
color.
mushroom cloud. That looks like a hand flipping somebody the bird
Yep,
coming out of
totally
like a
different.
feathery sleeve.
Yeah, it does.
like a women, like a votes for women. Like she's got a very feathery,
Yep.
fancy thing on, and she's just like, yeah.
I could see that. Like a Mary Tyler Moore kind of
Right.
outfit
Yeah.
with the big
Yeah.
furry sleeves. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Chris and I go to the same psychiatrist when we look at the Rorschach test.
Yeah, so he said he was done, and he doesn't say orange. It sounds like he says ortho when he says orange, which is really funny. But he called it an ortho bird.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Nice.
So like he's naming
Orange
his
bird.
own paintings now. It's really
nice.
That's really cool. The next evolution in Luca.
But a lot of I'll do a couple of these over the next couple of weeks of just the single ones of just the one colors. They look they're smart. They're sharp too. But
That's fun. He can't start making them look actually like what he wants. Otherwise, we'll all see the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why I don't tell you until after.
He's
That's
been
why I don't
playing
tell
too
you
much
so.
Pokemon. Yep. Yeah, he should. I almost hit end stream. That's bad.
Oh my god!
I
It
did
does
that
say
once.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to do something and then we ended the stream and then had to restart it. Remember that, Mike?
Yes. Which time?
Was that at
Shut
Origin?
No, it was. I wish I could have blamed it on being at Origins. No, I totally did it from here at least once.
They have the "Are you sure?" whenever you start it. I don't know why they don't have the "Are you sure?" if you want to end it.
Right.
Anyway,
No, it says. Oh, I just hovered over it. I think it
Oh,
says.
no. It's big and red and inviting,
It is.
and it's right by the comments button.
Yeah, it is. Send a note.
To the buffer dates. Oh, is he buffering?
Yeah,
I
it was.
didn't see
No,
that.
it was in my. When I ended the stream prematurely.
Yeah, the first time you were ever on here,
Oh.
you had real buffer problems.
That was the worst.
That was great.
I could have just done the cardboard cutout of Lobot and just left it there.
Yep.
Nobody would have known the difference.
No, which now is going to happen. So get ready for QSCon.
Yes.
All
I'm
right.
probably just going to do that for every stream moving forward now, actually. Just
You should change your intro to the robot chicken thing.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So we want to do the top 5 worker placement games that we all did probably hours, days before the show, and have been waiting to do it. Right?
Correct.
yes. Correct.
I did. I don't know about that side of the screens. But
Yeah.
I did.
I might have been scrambling a little bit, but it's a real easy scramble, honestly.
It is.
This
Maybe
was,
the easiest scramble.
yeah, it's pretty easy just to go. Show me a list. Oh, it's all the games. There's my top 5 out of it.
Right.
But before we did that, so obviously, like I said before, when I started going through the list, I was like, that's not really worker placement. I wondered, what is your definition? Each one of you, your definition. How do you define worker placement? What do you say that's not worker placement, that is, and all that stuff? And of course, we're all just saying stuff. We don't know.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's all our own opinions, our approaches to the list, right?
No one's an authority on this stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, does Couch Mike look like an authority on anything other than couches?
Right. You know.
he knows how to
Sometimes
half decorate a room.
That's true. That's true. But it's probably only because this is like a couch here, and I'm like, I put something immediately next to a couch, and then the smart idea was, why don't I start streaming from my couch and just have a big wall? That's
I
better.
love that Strange just here tonight, just shooting arrows.
It looks like, how whenever you see scenes from, like, whenever they pulled the cameras back away from stages and the wall's not there anymore, and like the friends and stuff.
Cut.
Yeah, it's like, well, we're not filming past that point, so
End scene.
yeah. I forgot the question. Yeah. What is your definition for worker placement? How do you define that?
Who's going first?
I
Start down
don't
that
want to volunteer to go first on
Mike, you're
workplace.
first.
I guess. I mean, you put you put a meeple somewhere and you gain a benefit.
Yeah,
I mean,
already.
there's
Oh,
public.
Already. Yep.
It may not be immediate. It maybe later in the round, but you will hopefully gain something from that location. It could be a public space available to everybody. There's private worker placement, where not everybody, only you can use them. I don't know that blocking is a mechanic in worker placement anymore, because it's like every game gives you the ability to bump or to pay to use it, or it doesn't even have to be a meeple. It's, like,
This is starting to sound like
That's
every
very-
game.
I know. I don't know how else to define. I don't have a specific.
You
beyond
did
that.
start by saying you take a meeple and put it somewhere, which is exactly like Chris and my eyes lit up and Dave hit it. It doesn't have to be a meeple.
So
No.
okay, let me bail Mike out. My list, you have to have a pool of workers and you have to be able to place them somewhere as a mechanic in the game. It's that easy.
So any war game works.
No, those aren't workers.
Well, I will tell you this. I may suck at defining it, but everyone on my list will clearly be a worker placement game. I can tell you that. It's very obvious.
I'm clearly just doing this to be argumentative.
I know.
Which you never
I
do.
don't-
Chris. That's so out of character for you.
Oh, I know. Tic-tac-toe is a worker placement. That's funny. If you had a stamp that had the X, and this is my work. No, I'm kidding. See, and then I'm going to ask Tim about the pool of workers.
Mhm.
How many constitute a pool? Can I have just 2 workers and it's a
Sure.
worker placement game? So just one worker isn't a worker placement game?
No, that's well, I guess if you want to say A as in the truest form of the vernacular there, yeah, I guess. But a worker placement game, it's the shortest worker placement game ever.
But it is worker placement, not workers placement.
Yeah, because also that doesn't work because English sucks and is confusing.
So you place a thing and you do the thing, and that's
and you get a
worker
thing.
placement. So Scythe, because you have one little thing and you choose an action with it, is that a worker placement?
No, that's not a worker placement game.
No.
That's an action selection game.
Oh, what's the difference between action selection and selecting an action with a worker?
Yeah, I agree with Tim on that one. But that board would be actual
why?
selection. Your workers are out on the thing getting you resources and stuff, though.
So
Sure.
workers have
But
to
I-
go out on a
Well,
board
workers
that
are
they get.
multi-purpose. Workers can gain you resources. They can be action selection. The worker placement mechanic feeds into other mechanics because it doesn't just have to be one or the other, right? I mean, it can do multiple things.
Hey, Shannon.
So apparently
Shannon.
Shannon's never been into any of these episodes beforehand. So way to hang on until something
Yeah.
good came along.
They've all 154 of them have sucked.
Yeah.
But this one,
Until now.
Hey,
And all it took was a Lobot and a guy on a couch crushing it.
that's true. Definitely.
Yeah. So obviously there's all these, this game comes out and everybody goes, this is worker placement, but it has no blocking, or it has only one worker, or there's all these exceptions to the rule and stuff. So as I was looking down the line, I don't want to say one because it might be on someone's list, but we can even talk about it later. But I thought, okay, this is worker placement. And then when I went down further and disqualified something in my own head of what it was, I was like, wait, that disqualifies the thing. So it's just this big loop of, what feels like a worker placement, or what does it come down to?
Yeah, and I think that's like essentially the important thing, right? What feels like a worker placement game now. Right? The lines of the game design has progressed. So Mike was in bed, Mike. The
That's next.
game design and mechanics have blended and merged so much. Now,
This is why.
10 years ago, even in 2017 when Mike's designing his first game, right? I mean, the lines were a lot less fuzzy because there just wasn't as much creativity with, well, what can I do with a worker placement game? It used to just be, I've got 5 workers. There's all these places on a board. I put them there. I gain those resources, or I perform that action, right? And
This is interesting. No co-op.
no
So
co-op.
that's mean you can't have a co-op worker placement?
I would say they do exist in Kitchen Rush and Rush MD. You're it's like a real-time cooperative worker placement.
Interesting.
Okay.
So is Pendulum's not cooperative, but
It makes me want to design a co-op worker placement game.
I
When
know,
someone-
right?
That, yeah.
right?
Except you hate co-op games.
Not all of them. That's the
Okay.
blanket statement that doesn't work
Sure.
with all the times. I dislike ones that you don't need other people for.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Because that was our friend Bob's gripe about co-ops, is that if they're just a solo game, he's not interested.
Exactly. I don't like
Yeah.
multiplayer solo games. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Dead of Winter is technically co-op, and you can't play that one person.
Well, it's semi-co-op though, right? That's like Stuff of Legend. It's
Sure.
See,
As long as
yeah.
people have hidden information that I can't be like, oh, you should play that here, blah, 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 or whatever,
Yeah.
you know?
like Mission Control.
That sounds horrible. Co-op worker placement. Yeah, I'm not going to design it, but just the challenge of anytime you're like, nobody can make, a co-op worker placement. You're like, that immediately you want to start doing it. So.
Well, now I want to make a trick-taking co-op worker placement game. I don't know. I just threw trick-taking in because that sounds like a harder.
That's how a lot of
mechanic to
good games
incorporate.
get made. It's just challenging yourself or other people challenging.
Slap
Yes,
some
Atlantic
pieces
Rising. I haven't
together
played that
and see
one
what you can make of it.
Atlantis Rising, I think.
Either one I haven't played.
I don't know. I think it's Atlantis Rising. It's a good one. Elf Creek redid it. It was an old Z-Man.
Oh
game.
yeah. I want to play that.
It looks
That Elf
was
Creek
that,
one looks good.
Was that Detroit art?
Might have been.
Or am I thinking of another one?
Maybe no, not the original. I don't think the new one is either.
Okay. So anyway, let's talk about our number 5 first of all. Oh, did anybody bother putting them in order besides me?
Always.
Never.
It is
No,
Detroit.
we know. Yeah.
I
Alright.
do have the year they came out and their current rank, so I can either go from oldest to newest. I could go highest rank to lowest rank, or vice versa. So I do that stuff as well. But my top 5, I would play if they're on my list. I would play them at any time, unless it's a list of games I never want to play again. So I can't really rank them. None of my lists are ranked.
So my top 5 I would also play anytime. However, if all 5 of them were presented and you would say which one do you want to play, it's going to be 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and 5.
I couldn't care less. Somebody at the table would have more of an opinion on which one they would want to play, and any of the 5 would be fine for me, so I couldn't care less.
Sure.
Okay.
But Shannon, then he wouldn't be Couch Mike.
Well, and see, by doing so, this one doesn't whine. She starts to whine when she doesn't get attention.
No.
Like,
Mike,
fine.
Shannon finds your comfort offensive.
Well, I understand that. I'm clearly not giving an F. We got a pillow here. We got blanket down here. This is a
Where's your drink?
recliner.
It should be cute dog Mike.
If I sat in a chair like that, or where I could recline, I would have immediately 2 cats on me like that.
My already mediocre energy level would be so lower.
Chris would go to sleep. Chris would just
I
slowly
just-
drift off.
I mean,
gotta
I'm
figure
sitting
this
here eating peanut butter M&Ms just to keep it going, guys. So.
Once you can get away with it once, you're like, well, I could do it again. What's stopping me from doing it again?
That's how
Define
drug
get
habits
away
form.
with it. Define get away with it. So once you get away with it once.
Doing it.
Screaming on your couch and nobody goes, you moron. Like,
Well,
that's all it would
you'll
take.
laugh
Wait
at
for the
kick out
comment.
of it.
No.
What's this
All right, who's
idiot
starting? Let's
doing
do
on
this.
his couch?
All right, so we're going to do number 5. Why don't we start with a guess and end with a guess and do the snake thing?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, that works. Start with
Cool.
Mike. Come around.
So Mike or Tim, which one of you want to start?
Go, Mike.
I can
I'm writing
start.
down the years on my games
Real
real quick.
All right. I'm throwing my most obvious one at number 5. It's my gateway game. It's Lords of Waterdeep.
Yes.
I still love Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah.
And I rank this above other worker placement games still to this day after playing it for the first time 11 years ago and 29 plays is because of the variability. There's a lot of worker placement games out there where what you get and your options available are static. They stay the same every single game. This game has tons of replayability because every quest can give you a different strategy. The different Lord cards can give you a different strategy. You don't know what intrigue cards are in play. And the buildings coming out can be different. And so just by shaking all of that stuff up every single time you play it, it makes every game feel slightly different. And that strategic difference every time I play it is why I keep coming back to it. And it absolutely stands the test of time. And I think is one of the greatest gateway games ever.
That came out in 2012.
It's on my list. It's the highest rank on my list too. It's still ranked at 86. I'll agree, Mike, with everything you said. It's a fantastic game. I would only ever play this with the expansions and both of them. Mm-hmm. I think it's brutal as a base game. I think it's just punishing if you're playing it with people that don't know the game and you do, and you can just choke them out of everything that's out there and do the buildings to benefit you. And it's got a lot of the more I play it, and I still would play this. It's on my list. It's the second one I thought of. It's got a lot of good things, and I guess as a caveat, asking for troubles killed this for me. At any point, I would rather play, and this was before I met Chris, I would rather play Troubles over this. And I love Waterdeep. It was my first worker placement. It does a lot of really good things. I was never into D&D, so I wasn't really into the knowing what the plinth was. None of that really caught me. I just loved the way the game played. And then I played Troubles after and fell in love with the way that everything that I didn't like about Waterdeep was fixed to me in Troubles. But I love this game. Again, it has to be with the expansions though. I can't play a base game ever.
Agreed.
They don't play with the mandatory quests though.
Yeah, they're brutal, but I think if you take them out, the game ends up being too easy.
I have played a house rule. I know, Chuck. I have played a house rule where you can't play one at the end, the last round, the 8th round. And if you get one on the 8th round, you can replace it. But all the rest of the time, it's fine. Because you can just totally tank someone's entire game.
Yep.
And that's a luck of a draw thing.
That's not a terrible house rule.
No, I like that. Taking them out, I think, is too extreme. Playing them, not being able to play them in the last round, I think it's helpful. But to Mike's point, the idea that the quests, they could be the perfect one out there for you, and then you're 3 turns later, and someone's going to wipe them clean, or the perfect one comes up on your turn, or the buildings are there for you, or the choice of, do I take first player so I can make sure I get the white cube this time and not get choked out? There's a lot of good choices that come up in this game from game to game. There's never been one that's been super easy. They've always been a good puzzle to try and figure out your quest. And also, anytime you can play with a faction that has the Guinness harp as a logo,
yes,
sign me up.
Harpers.
Every time.
I would play without those intrigue cards if somebody requested, but I think I've played this game with a regular group enough and I've had the end of my game just absolutely shafted by a timely intrigue card. But I just expect that and plan for it. Just don't wait until the last round to, if possible. It's not always possible, but planning around somebody that can absolutely do something detrimental to your strategy, I think it's part of the game. But I understand why some people take them out.
I got that same one because of Shannon. I got that same placemat. I think it's a hex, maybe it's an octagon. It's beautiful placemat.
Oh yeah, that one does look nice.
Oh, very cool.
The game is so much better if you get the little pieces that look like the fighter and
the silk screen meeples.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think they have.
Or they're just shaped.
They're shaped like acrylic shaped.
Yeah, the clear tiny plastic ones and stuff. Yeah.
But just bringing it all back together, this was that game that, when somebody showed me I asked to play it again twice the same night. I bought it 3 days later. I was teaching it to people by the end of the weekend. That was the game. And at 28 plays and 12 years later, I still absolutely love this game. So it's a staple. It's
Yeah, it's a good one.
Nice.
Super restrictive and open at the same time. Once those buildings start coming out, but then you could have rounds where no one builds a building and you're stuck in just the main locations. Like
Not if you're playing with me. I'm always building buildings. I love building buildings.
Yep.
It's
well, especially if you have the right lord too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Yep, that's a good one. It's an inevitable one on these lists, and that's how good it is. So thanks for cracking that one open first, Mike.
It was on my list. I figured somebody would talk about it, but it was on my list.
Exactly.
I had it as an alternative because I was like, I'm pretty sure Mike's going to say it. So if I let Mike go first, I won't say it before he does, and I won't step on one of his. So.
All right. So we're going to me and my number one, not number two, number 5. Neither one of those. My number 5. I'm really paying attention.
It's okay. Not all of us went to California this recently.
There you go.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, my number 5. I'm probably the only one not drinking. Number 5 is Dinosaur Island.
Wow.
So why? Wow.
I didn't expect this. I didn't expect it.
I mean, there is a big portion of it that's worker placement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't expect this to be on your list.
Really? Because I think it was on one of my lists 3 times ago, something like that. I like this game a lot.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
But yeah, I mean, first of all, it's the whole Jurassic Park thing and all that stuff. And I have all those different dinosaurs. I have the whole blinged out thing, the totally liquid stuff and all that. But as far as worker placement goes, it's not like the first one that comes to mind, right? In fact, the first one that comes to mind has probably already been mentioned. But the reason why this is my number 5 is because I'll always play it, just like we just talked about. If someone wants to play it. And then it also has the what do I do in what order? And that's one of the questions I was asking, because you were saying put something out into almost like a communal place as a worker placement. Well, in this one, you only put the workers on your own placemat and select stuff. So it could be argued that it's action selection and not worker placement, but you have to get more workers, and they are actually workers. You have cards that come with the new ones that have names and stuff. So
I never doubted that this qualified. When you said it, I'm like, yeah. That's a great one.
Playing it this weekend or playing Lords of Waterdeep? Never know if comments are
Waterdeep. That came up earlier.
Now this is actually, I think this was in my sci-fi list on Friday. It's like my number 5 as well. That's weird, but probably that's why it's like right on top of my mind and all.
Well, yeah, this is what happens when you make a list 5 minutes before showtime. You just recycle the list from a couple days ago.
Fair. But the whole game happens like in phases. So phase 1 is some dice stuff. Phase 2 is buy stuff, and so on. Is it 5 phases or 4? Yeah, and phase 4 is the worker placement part. So that's why it doesn't really pop into your head. The first thing is worker placement, but it counts. It is worker placement, and I like the game, so there it is.
Definitely worker placement. I have a confession with this one. I went all in for the totally liquid and everything, the 2nd edition reprint, and I played it 3 times, and I wanted to like it more than I actually like it. I love the look and the components. I like all the mechanics too, but I don't know what it is. When I play the game, I'm like, this is okay. And this is the game I can't get rid of, because I'm like, I'm forced, and I mean that because I haven't even tried to sell it. I'm like, I will revisit this game. I will enjoy this game because I played Dinosaur World and liked it. I played the Dino Island Roar and Write and I liked it. And I even got Duelosaur Island because Googs talked it up, and I haven't played it yet. I've liked every other game in this world. I need to like this one, and unfortunately, I'm like,
You know, I bet you're going to like Duelosaur Island because what this one does, it has, like I said, it has those 5 phases, right? Each phase feels kind of separate from each other. And Duelosaur, for whatever reason, feels like it meshes together a little stronger, right? So I bet you're going to like Duelosaur.
If you didn't bring it up, I was going to say it again, and I say it every time this game comes up. I really do like Dinosaur Island, but it's too long and it's too fiddly. There's so much setup and there's so much going on, and that itch is scratched with Duelosaur. It puts it together in such a. It's only 2-player, which is great for Chris because Chris normally plays 2-player games. But if it gives you that same kind of feel with the DNA die and the DNA tracks and everything. It's got all of that stuff in a much smaller hit that gets that itch every time.
Yeah, I would agree with the setup for this one. I don't agree with fiddly, but
oh, it's a lot to set up. If you have 4 people, you need a second table. Not really, but it's a lot.
Yeah,
depends on the size of the table.
Duelosaur is the game for like. I won't. I'm curious, Mike, if you get Duelosaur to the table and play it, if that'll give you the edge to get rid of this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Nothing has so far. I haven't even thought about getting rid of it. It's not even. It's weird.
This is a table hog.
I love the look of the game. I love the components. It's got my favorite dice. I mean, the coins.
Yeah.
Love everything about the look of this game.
Yeah, it's great, but
this mat, this whole area and this mat is all 1-player thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you've got the scoreboard, and you've got this board, and you got
all the cards and all the different phases. Huge. It's a chore. The game is a chore.
I wouldn't say chore, but that's why it's on my 5 and not yours.
Sure. That's right. It's not, and I love it. But
all right. So, what's your number 5?
I'm glad it made somebody's list. I'm not trying to be that guy.
No, I love the game. It's a really good
I'll
game.
be that guy later. Hold on. What's your number 5, Mike?
All right, so I got to come off a Dinosaur Island, huh?
No, you don't have to come up. You could have had it already.
I want it to kind of come together, but it's not going to work because I don't think any of mine will follow up with that at all.
Awesome.
All right, so do I do oldest on my list? Do I do the oldest ranked, the highest ranked?
Do the newest.
I'm going to go with a solo game first.
A solo worker placement.
Uh-huh.
Well, that breaks the whole co-op thing anyway, right?
Didn't see that coming. So it's from 2015. It's ranked 1203, which, okay. It's called Deep Space D6. They made a bigger box version called Armada. I haven't played it. I played this game so much when I first got it. It's very Star Trek-y. It's got the workers on your dice. When you roll them, they become certain things like medics or engineers or whatever they are. And then you got to put them out onto your ship to do certain things to defend all the ships that are coming in to try and attack you. And placing certain ones in certain spots, do certain things. You might not have them, but the dice are your workers and you're putting them out there. Some of them are wild. You get your re-rolls. You get, these abilities to change things around. So there's bad luck mitigation. But then you have the side of that board where the aliens are coming down or the ships are coming down. You have shields you got to deal with. You've got damage you got to deal with. The game's super fun. If you haven't played it, it's solo. It's not for everybody, but I played a hell of a lot of this game when I first got it.
I had this game. I haven't played it because I saw it. I thought, "Ooh, that looks good," and bought it, and then didn't know it was solo.
Yeah. I just picked up when I was at Level Up a couple weeks ago. They had it on the table, and I picked it up. I picked up a second copy.
Nice.
Because I won't let anybody touch mine because I don't want it to get fucked up. So now I have one for the library. But they do have a print and play of the Enterprise that you can do. So you can
shit!
The ship, and you're using your dice, and you got all the other things coming down, and you're playing on the. It's all like you can do whatever you can do.
Which Enterprise?
Huh?
Which Enterprise?
The Enterprise.
Constitution class.
You're asking the wrong person.
A,
But I've
B,
seen a
C,
Firefly
D.
homebrew. Like you can basically set it up into any ship, any sci-fi ship, and then the alien ships that are coming down and attacking you or whatever. But yeah, the game's super fun and challenging. It's not an easy romp. Like it's gonna stomp you a couple times.
It kind of reminds me of, have you ever played Space Cadets Dice Duels?
Not the dice one.
Yeah, that's the sonar thing that, the where everybody's playing in real time, rolling dice, trying to get their weapons going, stuff like that. Of course, it's not solo, but it sounds like a solo version of that.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, you're controlling all of it, all the systems at once. Yeah, it's
Cool.
really, and it's compact. It's a small box, but it punches hard. So Deep Space D6 is my number 5.
And we're saying those are workers, huh?
They're workers. They become, when you roll them, they become whatever their face is. They become.
Not arguing. I'm just making sure that things are accepted so that there aren't arguments later. That's all.
Oh, because you're going to try and cheat the system.
I don't know.
So I actually wanted to ask, does Sky Team count as a worker placement game? Is that a dice placement?
No, those aren't, your dice aren't workers in Sky Team. You are both pilots. There's no workers. Each player is a pilot. Sky Team is not a worker placement game.
I'm a skilled worker.
A pilot is a skilled worker. It's a worker with a skill.
I'll agree.
So in a way, theme has to be part of it, right?
In that sense, in Mike's case there specifically, Mike there on the couch, the theme dictates that the dice you are assigning are not workers. It is that is an action selection game because it is the actions. Each player plays as a pilot. You are trying to land a plane. So those dice are the actions that each pilot is taking. Those are not workers.
What about when I place an intern, Tim? It doesn't count because they're not paid?
Exactly. Interns aren't people. And I've been canceled. Wonderful to talk to you guys. I'll see you again. Never.
That's a good question, Mike. I haven't played with the interns of that yet, but
I thought he was being facetious. I didn't know there were interns. So
very simply, Mike, it's interns of 1 through 6. You put a die down and you swap it with the closest intern to your side and place it. So you can change your numbers with it, basically.
All right. I'd have to see it in action.
Interesting. All right. What you got, Tim?
Well, in a beautiful segue set up by Mike, totally on accident or on purpose, my worker placement game blew my mind when I first played it because it used dice as workers, and I'd never seen anything like this. And for a very long time, it was my favorite Stonemaier game, even after Scythe came out. And that is Euphoria, Build a Better Dystopia.
Took my number 4.
I enjoy Euphoria so much. I played this game. It blew my freaking mind. And again, I played this very early, like in my gaming career. So this came out in 2013. I probably played it in 2013. And I probably only ever played Waterdeep, and I think I maybe even played Zolkin. But to see like a worker placement game where the dice are the workers and the pip values determine what you're going to get when you place it on the board, I was like, you can do this in board games? Yay, Donnie's my guy. It's really fun when you have these kind of experiences with board games and they kind of open your eyes. And I love the idea that your workers get too smart and then they go off to start their own dystopias, and and you have to like shock them down. I love the dark theme, like the dark humor, interspersed throughout the game. I love the colors, and everything, the vibrancy of the board. This was one of the first games that I saw that like really did this and implemented all of these things. Now, Euphoria is a little dated now, but it's still a great game. I would still play it if somebody said, "Hey, I want to play Euphoria." I'd be like, "Bet." I haven't played it in like 5 years, but I'll totally play it, because it used to be one of my all-time favorite games. The only reason it isn't anymore is just because I haven't played it lately. But I just loved everything this game did. This is the game that put Stonemaier on the map for me. Then I went and played Viticulture, and I'm like, oh, that's good. It's so light compared to Euphoria, and Scythe was really kind of not as complex as Euphoria, but completely different. You know what I mean? So it's like all of these great games are coming out with great production values. I've been a little hit or miss on Stonemaier as of late. I still appreciate them as a company and what they do. It's just that it used to be every game was 100% a home run with me, and then it stopped being that. But I love their space in the hobby and what they do. So it's not a criticism on the company or any of that, because I really think that they're awesome. But man, early on, they were just batting 1,000. It was, like
I wonder how many games any publisher can have until that number starts branching. I mean, even the second one, you're going to lose some people, right? So
exactly. Mind Clash, kind of was like the same thing for a minute. There's a few companies like that where you're like, dang, just banger after banger, and then it's like, okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like that with Space Cowboys too. Yeah.
So, but Euphoria, Build a Better Dystopia. This was one of my all-time favorite games for a very long time, and I just love what it did with worker placement. So for me, like, again, 2012, I was playing Lords of Waterdeep. I go to Geekway to the west, which is in St. Louis. Actually, I was playing Euphoria and with my sister, and this guy walks by and goes, "Oh, that's a really good game." And I look up and it's Jamie.
Yeah.
So because he lives in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Anyways, but it was super cool. But love that game. That's my number 5.
I think it holds up. I think it's still good.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, this is my number 4. You stole my number 4.
Oh, sorry.
So speaking of number 4s, what is your number 4 since we're going to snake back up?
Oh, it's me again. Oh shit. Let's go. All right. I'm going to go with another older game, but this is one of my all-time favorite games. And I haven't played the old version, so I'm going to talk about the 2015 version of Empire's Age of Discovery.
Wow.
Glenn Drover. This game's awesome. There's going to be people that have problem with the theme because you're basically colonizing the Americas. You're sending traders over. You're battling, the natives, depending on where you land potentially. I get it. Not very cool now, but accurate. It's historically, represents what they were doing at the time. So to me, that's how I'm okay with it. But not only, this was one of the first games where it's like, not only do you have workers and you're doing things with them, but you're improving your workers. You're training your workers. You're changing them into different kinds of workers, and then they're specialized, and then they're going to give you better versions, of the tasks you assign them to do. So you're going to get better stuff if you assign those workers to those locations. The Eagle Griffin Games production of this was incredible. I freaking love this game. It's beautiful. Amazing metal coins. 100% love it. I think this is still in my top 10 all-time favorite games. I just really love it.
Was this the first worker placement game where your workers have their own special abilities?
I mean, might have been the first one I played where they did that.
I mean, because the original came out in 2007. I mean, if there's something that predates that has that, I can't think of it.
This was number 4 on my top 50 of games of all time. I just love this game.
Oh, so your next 3 are
I've never played that
3 then?
Yeah, exactly right, Mike. Go to hell.
Good one.
It's a giant box.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, I got it. I got it right there. It's massive.
It's a big box.
And it's a table hog. That board's huge.
It is really
but the insert's amazing, so it makes setup and tear down really easy.
Nice.
But yeah,
the
very
actual
cool.
sort of territory control game that you're kind of playing is really interesting.
It's got a bunch of other stuff.
Is that a Dead Man's Curse box with the coins in it?
Oh, it kind of
is.
looks like it.
That's another
like those coins.
it's a small Eagle Griffin game.
Yeah, those coins, like Chris, they actually look like stamped, old school stamped. Like they feel
cool.
and look authentic. Yeah, there's just a whole vibe to this game. It's really good.
It is good.
They spared no expense.
No, it's a big production value.
All right,
Mr.
Mike.
Over.
What's your number 4?
How do
Good
I
pick,
follow
Tim.
that?
I was waiting on that one. I'm actually going to go with hotness here.
Other
I played
Mike.
this once.
Other Mike.
Sorry, we're snaking.
Other Mike.
Whoops, I
We're
forgot.
snake draft.
We're snaking.
You sit on your couch and you
Not-
wait. Don't really. Don't
For a
Chair
guy
Mike.
that looks
I'm
so
gonna go to
relaxed,
bed.
he's in a
Let me
big
know when
hurry.
it's my turn.
Chair Mike. Bow tie
Chair
Mike.
Yeah. Chair
It's
Mike,
bow tie
and,
Mike.
and that's good. I don't know where to go with this one.
If only you had prepared your list before the show.
Only they were in
One
order.
that's
Well, I have
one
9 of
better
them on
than
my
the
list
last
because I figured
Kind
we
of
have
bored.
a lot of overlap. All right, I'm going to go with, I guess, in keeping with the dice as workers theme that I started with, I'm going to go with Alien Frontiers as my number 4.
Ooh.
Oh, I haven't played this. Okay, yeah.
Oh boy, you will ruin friendships with this game.
My kind of game.
Oh, it's great. So the dice are your workers. You roll them, and you have whatever you roll get to go out on the board. And there's multiple locations where the dice can go. Sometimes they need to be in pairs. Sometimes they can only be one. Sometimes they need to be higher than the last one that was put there. You're vying for the territory on the planet. You're trying to you get special abilities when you go there. But like I don't know. It's like the construction. Is that in a different language? Yep, totally in a different language.
Nope, you're just having a brain tumor.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, it's only an 8% mind flayer. I can't be reading things wrong now. Well, anyway, so when you go there, all those little squares for dice, they all take dice. So if somebody is there, you can't go there. And if somebody's die is higher than yours and you roll lower, you can't go there. You have to wait for them to recall their stuff. And if you're paying attention, you know exactly what people have and how close they are to getting a new ship or getting to one of those territories. So you have your dice placement, which gives you the ability from the different locations. Either you're getting what looks like candy or the ore, or you're building a new ship, or you're doing something. And then it becomes an area majority thing out on the planet, because whoever has the majority of that thing gets the little chip or the little square that gives you an ability that makes you stronger as a unit. I don't know what you are in this thing. Faction. I mean, maybe you're factions. But yeah, this game is never disappointed me. You can multiple strategies to play as you get out there. So you can do that lower left there, which as you start putting dice, you move the little colony over, and then when it gets to the end, you get to put it on the thing. Or there are some that just let you do it automatically if you can roll the right numbers. I think it's triples or something. Really cool resource management involved in this one too. But the dice as the workers, it can get really tight out there because there's always a restriction, right? Depending on the number of players you're playing with, there's always something that's restricting you, whether it's you can't play in certain spots in a certain number of players, or people just beat you to it purposefully or on accident. But really,
fun fact about this game: this is the game that got me into the industry as a designer, because they went through Kickstarter, and I said, "You can make games without spending your own money."
Oh,
This is the one that caught my attention and made me go to Kickstarter and
Nice.
look at it, backed it. And I said, "Well, then I'm designing a game." Designed one. I actually designed my game before they got me this game.
nice.
Before it got to me. So I backed it and said, "We can make a game." And we went and made a game and even put it on Kickstarter. And then it got to my house, which is funny.
So it's a standard 3-4 year Kickstarter turnaround.
Yeah.
So you had plenty of time.
Took a while.
Hey,
What a cool coincidence. So that's nice.
They've added so much stuff to this game too, with all the factions and all the extra stuff that you can add to the game. Base game is perfectly fine. It's challenging. It's a cool puzzle. Really fun. Highly recommend this one.
Yep. It's a good one.
I've always heard great things about this one. I haven't played it either.
We can fix that for you.
Tori Neiman. I didn't know the designer offhand. I should have. Yeah, very good. All right. So since my number 4 was snaked out from under me, I have a backup that is arguable. I can actually see the arguments against it. But I love this game. It's always been in my top 10. So I'm going to throw it in there. And it's Istanbul.
Oh, I haven't played this one.
So
I've only played the dice version of this, so I can't argue.
okay. So, well, I'll tell you real quick how it works if I can find a picture of the board. There we go. So that too close. I wish there we go. That's better. All right. So you see those stack of minis right here, or not minis, discs right here, right? So these are your workers. The ones that are underneath that stack. So if I'm playing yellow, I can move up to 2 times, and you can't go diagonal. So I can go to this spot. If someone else is there, you got to pay them $2. Or I could go to this spot, or I could go 1, 2 down the Sultan Palace. Basically that. So you have a limited number of spots you can go to based on your thing. And when you go there, you drop off one of those workers. You do that action. And then when it comes back around to you, again, you can move 2, but you've dropped off some of your workers. Eventually, you're going to run out of workers. And you can go back to the locations that you have workers to pick them back up and do those actions again. So it's all this limited movement stuff there where you're trying to like plan, okay, I want to go here, but that's 3 away. So I'll do this first to get me close to it. Then I'll hit there. But then someone goes there and now you got to pay them $2 to go there. And it's like, So it's not the kind of worker placement where you can go anywhere you want. It's got this limited movement thing that makes it a really challenging puzzle. But people could argue that it's not workers because they never leave the board.
Mm.
You run around, you pick them up again, and there is a place, this fountain right here, where if you go there, all of them come back to you, and then you can run around. Because I've had somebody argue that it's not worker placement because you never pull back all of your workers.
I don't know. I don't think that wouldn't disqualify it for me, I guess, but that's me.
Would you say 5 tribes is a worker placement then?
No, that's Moncala.
No, it is, but
you're not limited to a player color or anything like that. And this one, you're at least limited to player colors.
Okay.
And you also don't own any of them.
Not in 5 tribes, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you were talking about the movement and doing the action, it felt very much like 5 tribes where you move the things and do the action, right? If it's an assassin or it's a sultan or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But since you don't own any of those things, you're just picking up, like if they were just stones, like they are in Moncala.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tim said, you don't. At least this, you have a player color, and you are limited to your player color. Yeah. Okay.
And because I kind of thought the same thing initially, Mike, and then for me that was sort of the delineation, right? Is like, oh, you have a player. And then he was like, you have a player color, and you're moving, and if you have to pay other people to put your workers in that spot, kind of counts. So
yeah, I go.
Yeah, the dice version is actually really fun. It feels like a little bit different game, but it also has the same kind of flavor. So I like both games. I like this one more, but this one also plays 5 when the dice version only does 4 player for some reason. I'm not really sure why they did that, but
component count probably
could be cost.
Maybe.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But
trying to keep it down to a smaller box. It is a little bit smaller box, but yeah, this is a great one. It's my top 10 of all games. So
hell yeah.
I need to play it.
Me too.
All right, Couch Mike. Now we'll let you go.
Mike, also keep in mind you're going to have to do 2.
That's right.
Oh, we're good.
Okay.
Tim,
been a
he
long
made his list
time
at like
since
8:30. He's good to go.
It took me like 5 minutes, and I had like 25 games to pick from. So, and really, I just went down like my top 50. These are like, worker placement. All right, number 4. Excuse me. Vladimir Suchi, published by Rio Grande. It's Underwater Cities.
Underwater Cities, good pick.
I've finally got to play this game last year, and wow, this one's really, really good. So not only is this a worker placement game, but on your turn, you also have to play a card. If the card matches the location of the worker placement spot, you get the bonus of the card, and then you play it into your tableau, which is also this engine you're building out. Well, this engine that you're building out also happens to be a city underwater that you're also building on your player board. And every one of those little markers is a new building that you're building underground. And every one of those markers is an income that you can collect when you pass on your turn. And I just love games that let me go and go and go. Give me all this stuff. Let me go and go and go as long as I can until I pass. Then we all collect our income. Sweet. More stuff to go as long as I can for the next round. So this game just really hits all the spots for me. The player board ends up really looking awesome when you're done. Highly recommend the New Discoveries expansion. I haven't played it, but it has the plastic organizer that you're seeing on a lot of those tables, and it gives the player boards a dual layer. So 100% get that expansion. But this game's just really good.
Yeah, I played it recently at Bullfinch actually, a couple months ago. Blew me away. Really, I heard nothing but good things about it, but actually playing.
Right.
Also, Suchi's games are just they're
yeah.
that.
Yeah, just pick one. They're all good.
So, have either of you played this 2-player only, or more than
Not
2-player?
2-player, no.
No, I've only played it 4.
Okay, so I've only played it 2-player, and I remember I played it twice as 2-player, and every time I played it, I was like, "This should feel really great. Like I love this part. I love this part. This part is brilliant. All this stuff." But I just didn't come back to it again. And I was like, is it just because I'm only like the 2-player has a very limited kind of scope, I feel like. And it felt like it would be broader, like more interesting with more choice and more stuff out there, you know? So I was just curious if anybody had that comparison.
There are some games that do that really, really limit what you can do at 2 players. And it's just not really as satisfying.
Yeah, I think that I think I'd like it at a bigger count. I just haven't had a chance to try it yet. Interesting. Cool.
All right, that's my number 4. My number 3, I'm just gonna beat Tim to this one, unless he forgot. He may.
I left some stuff off because I didn't want to cross over with Mike.
Well, this one's too new for him. This is my sleeper hit. This is Resurgence.
Oh, Mike, I did not forget. This is on my freaking list. This would have been my number 1 had you not said it. Because this is one of my favorite games of the year. Mike, I literally just messaged you that this was in the running for my favorite game of the year.
I wasn't looking at the messenger. I was here on StreamYard getting ready for a stream.
That was 12 hours ago, you ass. Oh, Tim might have forgot about it. I don't know. No, screw you. I didn't forget about this game. This game's amazing. Please continue.
So are you saying this is later on your list, Tim?
Not anymore, but yeah, it would have been. It'd have been my number 1.
I haven't received a message from you today. Boom!
It's evil, Mike.
Oh, maybe it was yesterday when I talked about Ostia. Didn't I message you and say that Ostia and...
Yes. So Stan Kordonsky, it's a publishing company, Half Kingdom Games. This was labeled as a bag builder worker placement game, and I really love bag building. That is just a mechanic that sucks me in every time. But in my opinion, it's actually the worker placement and the card synergies that are much stronger in this game than the bag building. The bag building does kind of allow you to do a bid, and if you bid the most of a certain faction, you move up a track. That does allow you to cull your basic workers out so you can pull your better ones later. But it's those cards there that have this incredible combo effect. I placed a guy here, so that allows me to grab an oil. Oh, I grabbed an oil, I'll tap this card, and because of that, I grab a food. Oh, I grabbed food, so now I'll tap this card, and that food lets me grab a second food. Oh, it's every single round you're tapping these cards that give you these insane combos that just get stronger and stronger. So it's as much an engine building game as it is a worker placement game, but it's just really satisfying to build up, and you're pulling more workers and you're activating more of those cards. It's insanely good, and it's not talked about enough. It's like a 2022 release, and it's ranked in like the 2000s. That's criminal. I think this kind of got overshadowed by Endless Winter because it was a bigger production. But I think this game deserves love too.
Absolutely everything Mike said. I got to play this with West and our friend Bob, and then our other co-host Dan, because Mike didn't want to show up. We got to. No, I'm just kidding. But we got to play. I got to play Resurgence finally. I had already bought it at Gen Con because I heard these guys talk about it, and I got Stan Kordonsky to sign my copy while he was at our Gen Con booth. Humble brag. And but yeah, this game was so good. I love the worker placement aspect of this. The way, because you're drawing your workers out of the bag and then you're assigning them, right? But like the bag building aspect of it is really cool because not only you're culling your workers, like I had abilities where I was like, upgrade. I had workers that could count as anything, so it made them, kind of like Age of Empires, the specialized workers go to these spots, you do better, you get better rewards and things like that. But yeah, everything this game did, more people should know about this game. It's really good. It's really good.
Nice. I've been wanting to play this. I almost played it at BGG Con, and then we didn't have enough time to learn a new game because nobody knew it.
Oh, sure.
I really do want to play it, though.
I bet you if somebody... the great thing about this game is it does not take that long to learn. There's a lot going on, but it's not overly complicated, I don't think. I think you would be able to scaffold off of all of your other game knowledge, and the mechanics would all come together very quickly for you.
I really like Bag Builders. In fact, you reminded me, I did have an announcement that Aaron and I and Brad Brooks have officially signed a Bag Builder game with Cardboard Alchemy called Whisperwood.
Nice.
What's it called?
Whisperwood.
No, wait a minute. Weren't you just on their podcast?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Strange. And I work for them, so it's kind of an easy sign.
Conspiracy.
It's who you know. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, totally forgot about that. Yeah, good pick though, because I've been wanting to play this. So I love Bag Builders.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about it enough now that I need to look it up.
Yeah,
That's why I keep talking about it. Not enough people do.
Googs, if we haven't played this by the time we see each other, we'll fix that, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have it on my list now. I'm going to put it on my I need to acquire it thing. Before I forget, going back to your Age of Empires where you play, you can upgrade the workers and the workers do better if they do certain things. The game that you sent to me through West.
Cartini?
What is it?
Cartini?
It's got that same kind of mechanism in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
From what I remember you explaining is like you can upgrade the workers and they get better at doing certain things to progress. Okay.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a good mechanic. It's a really good mechanic. It makes it rewarding, right? Because you can like just do better, more stuff as the game goes on. It gives you that engine builder kind of feel. In addition to the worker placement. My plan is to
learn that game so Wes and I can play it on Friday, but I don't know enough about it to say that we can.
Oh, sure. It's crunchy.
Sure. But like hidden information and stuff for a camera. I don't know if.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Got to figure it out. But.
To me, my number 3, right? All right. So mine's a nice classic. Maybe I'll step on Tim's toes because he likes classic games. Right?
That's what we're shooting for today.
Yeah, Tim's just getting abused.
No, I just got upset that Mike was like, "Oh, maybe Tim forgot about this." That's where he crossed the line. It's one thing to put it on his list. That's great because this game deserved to be talked about. But to be like, "Well, Tim's sort of a dum-dum, so he probably didn't know about this one, even though he just played it." Go to hell on your couch.
That's why we separated you guys. That's why Mike's totally up there in your list.
It's better for everybody.
Okay, so my number 3 before these guys break up is Zulkin.
Oh wow!
Oh, great pick. Great pick.
Zulkin is it's the one with the gears. That's all you need to know because you've seen pictures.
Love when they're picked.
Probably. Although nobody's going to show the gears. There you go.
There they are.
Painted, though. A lot of people have painted their gears. I got close. I almost painted my gears. But the idea that you put your workers on the gears and then the gears turn every round and you have to wait until you take them off at just the right time to trigger the action that you want. So you want this one over here and this one over here, and you want it to turn just right so that you get exactly what you want. If you mess up, you just feel like an idiot. But if you get it right, you're like, oh my God, this, and it works. And that's, I don't get it right enough to get that feeling, but whenever you do, it's really fun. Mm-hmm. It's such a tight game though. And it has one of the things that I hate, which is feed your people. You got to get the corn.
Yeah.
But that's how good it is that it's still on my list.
But unlike Agricola, it's fun, so.
Yeah, I mean, I won't go into the whole rant as usual about feeding your people, but you do have to do like, okay, I'll do 2 cool things and 2 boring things so that I can feed my people, right? That kind of thing. But you know, the gears seem gimmicky. I think a lot of people probably skipped this early on because they thought, oh, that looks gimmicky, but it totally works and it's needed. It's amazing. So yeah, it's a great game. I'll play it anytime. Also,
This is a great pick. I don't know any game that really does anything quite like this, and the way it ties in the theme is amazing. And who would have known that in 2012, when they dropped this game, that Luciani and Tassini would just go on to put out, like, that was the one, and then everything from them since has just been excellent.
Yeah.
I have not played this.
Who would
one
have
yet.
thought? Oh,
You haven't played this one?
That's a good one.
This one's I don't know if you like how mean it could be to you if you mess up. I mean, it really can.
Probably not. I'll probably hate myself. But
Yeah, if you pull your worker at the wrong
I feel
time.
like I like that paint job where they look
Yeah,
like
yeah,
stone rather than all the detail. That's really cool.
Well, this isn't. That's something they printed or something.
Sure, but like the stone look on that green with the ink wash and everything, that looks really neat.
Yeah, this is more like, look how we painted it. Oh my God, look at that.
Oh my lord!
Whoa!
That person is out of control.
Stop it! That's not real.
That's
insane. There is not enough Ritalin in the world to do that.
Oh man!
Oh, that's awesome.
Bitch, if I show this to Erin, she'll do it.
That looks so good. Wow. Is that pre-printed on the dial or is that freehand? Like they stenciled that in?
Well, no. I believe those are printed in.
Those are printed. It's texturally there. Yeah.
They painted it, but they didn't freehand that. But that is absolutely the most beautiful version of that board I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's probably the best version I've seen. Yeah. Oh, look at this! They have little people. I didn't even see the people.
Nice.
Yeah.
What
a version.
Wow. Yeah,
that I would play. Like that would bring me to the table and make me play it. If you go back like 5 images to like what comes in the box.
I haven't even seen what comes in the box yet, honestly. There it is. This is what comes in the box.
There it is.
That's what it looks like.
So boring.
I mean, they at least have the design on there.
Sure. But man,
but
like it looks fun and gimmicky, but when you get the paint on it, that elevates it.
Wow, this makes me want to paint it.
Oh man. Yeah, I need to play that.
Good job.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is a unforgiving game sometimes, but it's one of the good ones. That's my number 3. What's your number 3, Mike? Non-couch Mike.
I'm gonna see your Zulkin and one up you with similar, not as pretty, but a similar feel. I think from what I know, it's called Arborea or Arborea.
That's a new one.
It is. It's 2023.
It's very pretty.
It is very pretty. I played it at the Niagara Game Con a few weeks, January, end of January.
Gorgeous.
Really, really pretty. This is also by the designer that did Barcelona, which I heard really good things about and I haven't played yet. But it's got three different workers. There's the biggins, whatever they're called, the chieftains or whatever. There's a theme to it. And then there's the little ones, and some of them are white screen printed and some of them are black screen printed, and that matters on where they are on the board. This does one of the things I can't fucking stand in games, where they put white on the yellow bits. I hate it. I wish people would stop doing it.
Oh God, yeah.
Please fucking stop doing it.
No.
Other than that,
look at that. There's black on that yellow.
I hate it. The black on the yellow is fine, but everybody has black on meeples. There are also white silkscreen meeples. Because you have 2 different types. You have white and black, and they do something different if they're out on the board.
This is that one you sent me a picture of complaining about, right?
Yep.
I can't find the white on
Or
yellow.
yellow dice with white pips. No,
I hate it.
just no.
I hate white on yellow. Stop doing it. Just stop. Just stop.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. I hate it. It's not as
Well,
bad in this, but it's
The
just
problem is the black on yellow looks so good.
right.
And then because they had committed to that black and white screen printing,
Sure.
sort of thing,
Just-
it's like, oh,
Just don't use yellow. Use
Don't
orange.
use yellow. There are
Yeah.
infinite number of colors you can use other than yellow. Don't use yellow. Do the
No,
white
there's
and
just
black, I
orange.
get it, 'cause
But yeah.
it's an ink and it's a printing and there's a cost. I get it. And it would ruin the aesthetic if there isn't white and black and I got to do something with the rules. I understand that. Take yellow out. Just use another color. Drives me nuts. But this game, so it's got that same kind of what Chris was talking about with Zolkin, where you put the meeples on that little track right there. And then it sucks. That track will move. And when you're trying to put it on tracks there that other people are going for. So it will move on not your turn. So you'll benefit from other people taking their turn, which will move your characters along that thing. And then you come off that rail or that track or whatever the bit is, and you take one of those, like looking at that right now, there's the trails that come off it on the bottom, and there are the trails that come off it on the top. And you can decide when the thing moves, do I want to leave and do that trail? And you get everything on that trail, and then the worker comes back to you. Or you're going to ride it out quite literally until you want to pull it off again. And the farther you go, the more of the benefit there is. Sometimes you got to pay for some stuff. Sometimes it's easier to get off earlier because you get some stuff for free and you don't have to pay. But the idea of it with this, there's so much going on in this game. The worker placement is just a bit of it. And it has to happen or the rest of the stuff doesn't. There's a card play where you're laying your cards down on top of each other to create the terrain. There's the workers, the animals, the beasts that you're getting to go into your terrain. That right there is my favorite part of the game. Those things separate. There's two different pieces there in red. There's two different pieces there in orange. Yeah. So see how they separate? On your turn, if you got red as a resource, the top half of that will start moving up. Oh, hey, Evan. The blue number that you see right there are points. So if you don't use the resource, you'll get points. And then the bottom half will move up to match where the top half is. But then if you take the points, you're not taking the resources that turn. And then the next player can benefit from you getting the resources for them to use. So there's this really interesting choice of, all right, I got a bunch of red. I can use the red if I have the right stuff to use the red for. Or I'll just mush it together and get the points, which will then give, in this situation, Tim the opportunity to use red. And if I'm looking and thinking properly, I don't want to give red to Tim because it'll benefit him in some way. So do I take the points because it's really going to give me a lot of points? Do I leave it out there for other people to use? And that's true for every one of those resources. It's such an interesting choice to have to make in that game on top of everything else that's going on in it. It's beautiful. It's really well done. It doesn't take too much to teach and learn. It's got a lot, like what Mike was saying before, like all this, your gaming history, you'll be able to put it all together pretty easily. But there is a lot going on in this game. And that track with the workers where you're putting them out and which one you're putting out and when you're taking them off, like it's a beautiful game.
It looks amazing. Holy crap.
Grab it.
You
or
sold
don't
me
play,
on
play
this.
it. It's beautiful.
I already like the look. I for whatever reason didn't look into the Kickstarter, but this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Go back a couple, Chris. Oh, that's cool. One more. That one. So see the middle, the bottom blue card, that teal blue. The other, or the purple one. See how there's those icons on it, but there's 6 on the purple and only 5 on the blue.
Yep.
That's on top of a deck. And when you go to get a card for your terrain, you're paying what's up on top to get that card. But you kind of know what the other side of it's going to be based on what the icons are on the bottom. So that purple card is obvious. There's 2 yellow and there's 4 blue. Done. So when you flip it over, it becomes what's on the left there, where there's 2 blue and a green and then 3 gray. The gray are just rock, like they're not represented on the icon. So you kind of know what you're going for when you're getting those cards, but you don't know what the layout's going to be when you flip it over. There's so much depth in this game. It's brilliant. It's absolute. The way the animals are scoring, everything about this game was like Barcelona came first, and it made me want to seek out Barcelona because what the designer did in this game was just brilliant.
Very cool.
So now that everybody's writing it down,
Right? No doubt.
Writing it down. Gotta get it.
I've heard nothing but great things about Barcelona too, but I also haven't played them.
Same.
that like what Evan was saying, that resource system, the choice you have to make when you're getting it, like you can get really an amazing amount of points if you get the right resource and you get enough of them. But like, do I want those 12 points now? Because if I take the 12 points, then that means the next player is going to get all those resources that can really get like benefit them to get animals and get resources and get whatever. Or can I get the right resources to trigger right away so I use it and not leave so many out there for the rest of everybody to get? Like, it's such an interesting push and pull. It really is.
So far, I think you've won the I got to buy this one that I don't have yet thing.
You're welcome.
So far. We'll see.
It's great. The wooden meeples, like it's a beautiful game. It really
look
other
almost
than white on
that
yellow.
way.
My only argument in that game was the white on yellow. And it's such a nitpicky thing, but everything else about it was just beautiful.
Just like Couch Mike just said, I remember the Kickstarter and I looked at it and thought, oh, that looks amazing. And I don't remember why I didn't say yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that was. It might have been time. There's like, for whatever reason, whenever I'm running a Kickstarter or involved in one, that's the blank space. I stop looking and diving into the Kickstarter. So it might have been during that time. Yeah.
It's worth tracking down. I know there's the biggest store in the country is out here in Rochester, which Mike, on your trip, you should definitely stop. They had the Kickstarter versions of this with the extra bits and everything. It's worth the base game will be fine. You don't need all the bells and whistles for it. The game mechanisms in the game sing, but giving it a little bit of a facelift with some extra stuff, it won't hurt this game at all.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, so top that, Tim.
Well, my number 3 is going to be low-hanging fruit, but I don't care. I was late to the party with this game, but I really liked it when I played it for the first time last year. This 2018 game, Everdell. I finally played Everdell, and the tree is worthless. Like, just stop putting the tree together.
Oh, I like the tree.
The tree looks great, but it's going to tear up. It gets tore up, all that stuff. And you don't really need it.
A wooden version of it.
Oh yeah, right. Mm-hmm. But Everdell, like the art on it is great. I love it. The all the bits are really good. And here's the thing: is sometimes for me, like, I just want to have games that I can get my wife to play, and my in-laws to play. And this is 1,000,000% a game that I threw down on the table after I played it and was like, you guys are going to love this. And they have asked to play it again since then, So for me, that gives a game a lot of traction because I'm going to get that game to the table. There's some really great worker placement games that I get played once every year, maybe 2, just because of the complexity. You got to have the right group, you got to have the right time. But this is one that I could get played just about any weekend, that I'm hanging out with my in-laws, which is most weekends because they live like 5 minutes away. And yeah, it's very easy, but the variety of cards, there's tons of expansions for it, which you can add if you need to increase sort of the complexity. You can add some stuff too. Farshore changes a few things, but it's familiar enough. If you know how to play Everdell, you basically already know how to play Farshore. You just got a couple tweaks. But yeah, this game is beautiful. It looks great. This is like a couch mic game. You're just ease back. You could just relax and you can play this game. You could take your actions. You're getting a ton of resources. You build your nice little engine, and then before you know it, it's all done. You score your points, you're good to go.
I like that there's a level now of like what Couch Mike would play and not. Like there's a floor to what Couch Mike will play.
Next top 5 is top 5 Couch Mike games.
Couch.
Oh,
Mike.
done.
This is why Couch Mike will not die. This is exactly why.
We have tried stakes through the heart. We've tried silver, garlic. We cannot kill.
We
Couch
keep
Mike.
giving them power. That's
We do. We keep feeding him.
Holy water.
I think we need to drag Couch Mike into the sunlight. Maybe that'll get him. That's like the only thing we haven't tried yet.
This is a great solid one. I'm surprised to hear that you're like you're saying, not to guess, but you're saying like it's hard to get your family sometimes to play certain ones because this can be pretty tight. This can be like I can only get 1 or 2 cards the first season or something like that. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think though that like the thing is my in-laws have played a ton of games with me, and they're very intelligent and they grasp games very quickly. But they also sometimes want things that look easy. And so if it looks easy and it's very easy to understand immediately, because I feel like Everdell is. Now there's strategy to Everdell, right? But like if they feel like they can get into the game nice and easy, we're good. We're golden. And they'll play and you're like, oh, they're actually playing like kind of a heavier game than they realize it, you know, or more strategy in there.
I heard about a house rule about this, and I think I heard about it on this show. So maybe Mike, you told me this, or one of our guests did. But someone told me that they take the whole deck of cards and they separate it with buildings and critters, which is what you're looking at right there. There's a building and a critter, and then they have 2 stacks. And when you get to pick a card, you can choose which stack.
Oh, a building or a critter.
Yeah, and that to me takes the fishing part out of it as much. Like you're still gonna fish. Like I need a husband. I already have a wife and a farm. I need a husband. At least now you feel like you have a chance.
There's a little more control, right? Yeah.
I've been wanting to play that. I haven't tried it yet, but I've been wanting to play it just to see what it's like.
I have to try that because then, whoever buys a building out of the middle, you can decide to something out of the middle. You could decide to repopulate it with either a critter or a building.
Right. Yep.
I like that idea. That's a very simple idea to just kind of the game a little bit. But yeah, no, I think that the thing with Everdell is that it looks so inviting, you know, and it looks so relaxing and such like a chill kind of game. But beautiful. I'm on the edge of my seat while I'm playing it because I'm like looking for combinations and what can I do and everything. But again, I knew with that art style and the ease of teach and sort of already scaffolding on games that my wife and her sister and brother-in-law have played, it's like, oh, I can get that. I could put this on the table and they're not going to go, oh, what's that? Right? Like I could put the beigiest, most basic Euro on there and they'd be like, nope, this looks ugly. I'm not interested. Right. But you put something like this on there and they're in for it.
Saying is you're going to retheme Dune Imperium as Care Bears. Got it.
No, I'd pick
let's play it.
No, I would do Dune Imperium as Jabberjaw. If you're going to pick a cartoon, I want to do a cartoon I like. All right. Or maybe Gummy Bears. Dune Imperium is Gummy Bears. If we're going to stay on the Care Bear theme.
The Gummy Bears. Yes.
You know, the first time I played this game, it was I missed one rule in the rule book. I was reading it you know how you learn games at cons, so you try to read fast because people are sitting at the table and stuff. I missed one rule. Seemed to be a very important rule though, which was you get to take your workers back whenever the season ends.
Oh,
so we played a game where once your worker went down, that sealed that spot away for the entire game.
Holy shit, that's the tightest.
Brutal. I think I ended the game doing the best, and I had like 5 cards down. It was we were just like, how is this game so hard? And I went back to the rules. I was like, oh, there's a rule right here. So they did the thing where the rule was like in a little box that looked like
I hate that
example thing.
I hate that. I hate that so much. Only examples should be in those boxes, not the only time that they state that rule. And I probably have 20 games in my collection that do that in the GD rule book, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah. So afterwards, total breeze.
Yeah, the game was so easy and wide open after that, right?
Yeah.
All right, my number 2, I'm going to go with another game that is definitely in my top 10 all-time favorite games. Because the worker placement part of this, I think, kind of gets overlooked. And that is Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. It is my favorite tiny epic game. It's actually probably the only tiny epic game I genuinely really like. Calm down.
How is this worker placement?
Your player board is worker placement. You're assigning your workers, which then determine what actions you're going to get to do. Go to the player board. He'll get there. You have your own player board where you're assigning your workers. You have to assign them. You can assign them into the different areas, and depending on what worker, they can go to different areas to do different things all the way up to the top. Don't you and me? I'll bust it out right over. Hold on a second. You guys have minutes.
Bob's in on it too.
It's at the very top of the player board. So like one person picks it. Yeah, and then
or like action selection for me.
Yeah, you're selecting your action. It's definitely a reach. Go on.
Okay.
This is a fun game, but
yeah, look. So you've got your thing right here, and you've got different places where you can drop your workers. And you're in your courtyard, and they can do capital actions or command actions. You literally are placing workers to do different actions. You can sign them out. You can move your workers out. Your little your guys out to then harvest stuff. You've got your warriors, which can go battle. This game's amazing. I love it. It is worker placement. It's got a worker placement mechanic.
I gotta answer Bob here though. So the thing about it only being your player board, if I remember right, Paladins of the West Kingdom, you can only place workers on your own board. You're not doing community worker placement at all in Paladins of the West Kingdom.
I never played Paladins.
I would argue with you that it is a worker placement game. Just saying.
So Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, Gameland Games 2018. I love this game. It's amazing. Table presence is ridiculous. This game is super fun. Tons of difficult decisions, but really, and like what I love in a game is like asymmetric players, right? Like all the players play differently. You unlock your own unique characters. Everybody's got sort of the same capital actions and everything, but everything after that is completely different. I don't know if either of you guys have played it, but
it's an amazing game. But let me stretch to pull that where you pulled that from.
GTFO.
Great game, though.
It's fun to put together too. All the little.
Oh yeah, my other box, my Plague and Pestilence box, is just filled with all the ships and stuff. So I got one box that's got all the everything else, and then the other box has all the ships and whatnots.
There is a lot of stuff in that game.
All right, Bowtie Mike, much. You have an actual worker placement game for your number 2?
Well, Corey did say.
Oh my gosh!
As worker placement
on BGG, this game is listed as a worker placement game.
That doesn't count. Like I said, anybody could list anything as a worker placement.
I think it's worker placement. You have workers; they're assigned to spots. It doesn't. Worker placement does not necessarily mean there's a communal board. Yes, usually, but that doesn't mean that makes it a worker placement. You have workers and you place them.
Is chess a worker placement game?
No, worker. You have that is a territory control game. No, that's a player elimination game. That's all it is.
Yeah, you wouldn't want territory control to be involved in worker placement.
Hey, I love territory control, and if you can add worker placement with it, it's going to make it one of my top favorite games. Oh, hey, they did.
Arc Nova is a worker placement. Haha. All right, what you got, Mike? Bowtie, Mike.
I don't know where to go.
You were expecting worker placement, right? Yeah. Where are you?
I still have worker placements on my list here, but I don't know which one to do.
Are you getting
one that it's only one tiny little part of the whole game?
Thank you, Evan. There's a huge story that goes behind this, and maybe I'll tell you in person. In April when we get to hang out.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go with. This was probably the heaviest on my list. Yeah, it's probably the heaviest on my list. It's from 2013. It's ranked 284th. So I think it was the second highest. Yep, the second highest on my list, Waterdeep being the first. It is a Feld game that I would play anytime. It's called Bora Bora.
Mike, I love you. Go on.
It's one of the first games I played that taught me you can't do everything you want to do in a game. I love everything about this game with your actions that you get to do, what you're doing on the board. Every round, everything's getting wiped. New shit's coming in. If you're going for the jewelry, you got to make sure you get jewelry every round or you're screwed. Like it's punishing in such a very pleasant way. I love it. I love this game. Every time I've played it, I've enjoyed it. It's crunchy as shit. It's almost got like, I think the closest I've ever got to this being such a mind melting experience was with Hawaii, which does the same kind of thing where you're like, you can't do everything you want to, but you can't. It's got that pulling stuff off your board thing that Terra Mystica has. It's got the set collection. It's just got so many cool, the puzzle feature of the dice kind of on the lower end of the screen there, where you get to, you have one of six and you're placing it down there. That's giving you stuff. The huts you're doing on the right there, that's giving you stuff. Up above, there's like this tile placement thing that's almost like a Tetris-y field with just dominoes. It's got so much to this game. It's bonkers good. I love it.
I've never played this one.
Oh, it's great.
So Stefan Feld is my favorite designer, and this is still a top 20 game for me. It was going to be on my list, but I intentionally sabotaged him.
Perfect.
Let me just say, I did not take Mike's number one from him. I'll just say that.
I love how it can be mean, but it gives you so many different options that even if someone blocks you, well, I can still do that. I just got to do this and this first.
Yeah.
And I like how it gives you like a quest to fulfill each round, and they're worth a guaranteed 6 points, which is quite a few points in this game. And you get bonuses if you complete a quest every round. So you're kind of always looking at what quest people are trying to complete, and it makes it really easy to block other people.
Yeah.
And the dice placement being that you can't place something higher than the die that's on that location. So if you drop a 1 down, you're just basically flipping everybody at the table off, unless they get one of those god cards that can work around that. I love this game, Mike. Big pick.
It's really it can be punishing, like unfriendly not like haha good job, like you got me, but when it comes late game and the jewelry comes out that you need and you've been building that set collection up for rounds, and then someone comes in and takes the bracelet you need, or somebody like that can get really like fuck, and there's no workaround at that point because it's late enough in the game where it's just like, sorry, kind of like the mandatory quest in Waterdeep where you drop one on somebody at the end of the game and you're like, well, that sucks. I have to spend this white on this mandatory, but I can't get 1 white from the game. So it can be a little bit mean. But man, it's so good. It's so good. It has so many things that I love in gaming. It's got the dice, it's got the placement, it's got the unlock stuff that you're pulling from your board. It's got that decision of, do I use it for this or for that? I think there's like, for lack of what the terms are, but there's like, you can use it as, I think it's a male or female. Like sometimes you can use it as this worker or that worker. Like it's amazing. It's so much fun.
Nice.
It's also going to take you a minute to play. Like it's not a quick half hour. Oh, that felt good. It's like you're in it for 2 hours. And you feel like you're in it for 2 hours. Like it's like, but it's only like what, 6 rounds or 7 rounds?
Yeah, 6 rounds. Yeah.
It's not. There's not many rounds to it, but it's like trying to figure out how I'm going to flip over my things, how I'm going to use them, how I'm going to get these things to work with these things. Like it's all while doing like a very limited dice thing. It's so well done.
So now I'm going to get our boarding. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I've talked about this game so much that for a while Tim got tired of me talking about it. That's how much I love this.
I just like saying that every time you were going to say a Stefan Feld game, I would just guess Bora Bora because
there's that too.
I'm sure this game, this was what, 13, I said? 2013. I'm sure this game had it today and people loved it because it's a Feld, and I'm sure, that attracts people to games, having the right designer. I still think this game holds up, and I don't see people talking about it, and I very rarely see people playing it. I haven't seen it I don't think I've seen it in table at all in the past, I don't know, 5 years, 7 years. Like if it's not me, I don't see it.
It's one of those I try to play once a year because I think it's just that good. Also worth noting that this is actually at a print now, and Queen, of course, has gotten a hold of it, and it's Cusco. I don't think that's out yet, though. So
Cusco's already a game, though.
Yeah, there's another Cusco that's being done by Queen, and that's a reprint of this.
I hate Queen.
Yeah.
Are they going to kickstart it as a pre-order?
I don't know, but I'm sure they'll probably box it with other city games and charge $150 for it.
So
Well,
now,
now-
because of Mike, I got to get Arborea and Bora Bora. So it's like Arbora Borea.
Arbora Bora,
So I remember it. Yeah.
I like
it
that
looks like
two of my
Cusco
5
is good.
or 2 of my 4 have
Yeah.
gotten you. That's amazing.
It is available now, so you can get Cusco. Bora Bora, you gotta get second hand. Good pick.
Which one? Cusco or?
Oh, Cusco is the reprint that's available now. Bora Bora has been out of print for a few
But
years.
what have they done to it? See, this was Alea. Alea,
Sure.
you could count on, right? Alea had good stuff. It was solid. You knew what you were getting. Queen,
Yeah.
eh.
I think because it's been reprinted now on rethemed, you can get this one used fairly cheap. Actually, BGG $30. Yeah, it was not like that for a while until it got reprinted.
Oh, I know. This was a hard one to find for a while.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's amazing. Good
Yeah,
one.
grab it. It's a good one. It's crunchy,
All right.
but it's a good one.
So we're doing number two. All right. So my number 2, more recent. Probably, is this my most recent one? Yeah, I think it's my most recent one. It's between this and another one for a lot of people, but I lean a little bit towards this one because of the theme, and it's Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Oh, wow.
So it is a worker placement because you're placing your workers out into the different ruins, stuff like that. But there's also some really cool stuff going on with it that's not just worker placement. It's more like it's this weird worker placement where you have to have the card in your deck building to place that worker, right? And it's not that hard to do. Oh, look at that. Didn't know that.
Nice.
So it's not that hard to do, but if you want to go to, some place that requires 2 boots and you only have 1 boot in your hand, then you're kind of screwed. Or you have to use a plane and a boot, and that plane is a really cool card that could have done something else. So it gives you a lot of cool decisions to go on there. I'm sure tons of people have played this one because it's a big popular one. That's interesting. Why would you put the picture of it rolling off the printer like that? That's interesting. And I've got the other maps and the other temples, and they're always fun to play. And the leaders is really fun. Have I played the newest? I don't think I've played the newest expansion yet. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew. Andrew's coming to the show soon, just so you know.
Very
We're
cool.
working out dates, and he's supposed to tell me if certain days work. So
Spoiler alert: Wine Cellar is my number 1 worker placement game.
that one looks so good.
It really does. It's not worker placement, but it does look really good.
But yeah, I mean, it is primarily, I would say, a deck builder, but the worker placement is what you do with that deck for the most part.
For real.
So.
Yep.
I would say the worker placement is a lot more important in this game than the deck building, because it is actually possible in this game to win without buying hardly any cards at all.
Sure.
Yep.
It is possible. It's difficult, but it's doable. This is a great game, though. This was also my number 2 for this list. This was my number 2. Yeah.
Wow.
Great
Okay.
pick.
See you, Evan.
And I love that these are the bits that come with it. Like that's just in the
Yeah.
box. It's not a Kickstarter exclusive to get all this stuff and all.
CGE, man. Their
Yeah,
art
CG.
and components for retail releases is just always on point.
Yep.
It's a great game. If there's any little bit of thing that I am disappointed in it is that it is a bit mechanically removed from the theme. I don't really feel like I'm going through a temple or anything, right? You're not
Oh, sure.
even fighting the monsters. You just pay some resources to go, yeah, beat the monsters.
Yeah.
But the art is so beautiful. It actually like I look at the artwork of every single little temple of monsters and stuff. It's
Yeah.
amazing, and it's in a little piece this big. And you're just like, look at all this artwork. I can make a whole game off of this one thing where it's got this beautiful temple.
The
and
art makes it feel way more thematic than it actually
Right.
is. You're
So
right.
whenever you
You're
see
right.
pictures of it, you think, "Oh, I'm going to be going into this." You can't go into it thinking you're going to be Indiana Jones. It's a great game. The mechanics and all that, and mechanisms and all that stuff is great, but you're not going to get that feeling, unfortunately. I don't know
Right.
if you could from this kind of Euro worker placement kind of thing. But
It's not very thematic.
right,
But to
the
your
artwork-
point, though, the my favorite part is the exploration, because one, you get the location art to flip over, but then you also have the Guardian to flip over, which is my favorite art in the whole game. Just
Mhm.
how awesome those Guardians look, and then just seeing what kind of resources you're going to get out of the space. I love that.
You know what I would have loved actually is if you played Star Wars Outer Rims. There's a card that you can do if you do the missions. They have you go down the line and do challenges. So it's like sneak past the guards, and if you sneak past them, you skip to 3. But if you don't, you go to 2, and it's fight the guards. And then once you get past them, then now you search for blah blah blah, and it feels like you're doing a little thing. If they had just stuck that in here, and instead of just pay these things, if they'd just written like pay a map to find the location of this, and then pay a gem to open up the wall to go blah blah. If they just put a little story in there, it would have totally kind of rocked everything. But not to make it my number 2 and then criticize it.
Yeah.
Hey.
You would think your number 2 would have no criticisms, but
Yeah, you would think. Well, it's just because the theme is so awesome and it's not done that much. And I want to be in that world and stuff. So you're not in this world when you play it, but it is still such a good game. That's my number 2.
Listen, if you want to be in that world, fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think
That's
Secrets
true.
of the Team does it pretty well too.
Talk about a long setup though.
Yeah, no doubt.
And fiddly. I mean, Flying Frog.
Yeah,
All of their games are so.
I got it
Yeah.
right over there. Yeah,
I've
fiddly
got
as
it
hell.
too, and it doesn't fit in the. No, mine doesn't fit in the Kalax. Does your fit in the Kalax? You have
Yeah.
you have one of the things out, don't you, to put it in there?
I mean, it's over there. It fits.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so my number 2, and
Those Texas Calyx shelves are smaller than us northern folk,
Yeah, usually everything's bigger in Texas except for the Calyxes.
except for the Calyx. Calyx.
no, the games are bigger in Texas.
Oh, that's what it is.
Calyx is made in Sweden or whatever.
Sweden.
You know what it is? It's your fucking heat makes the cardboard expand so it doesn't fit.
Yeah, that's why I expand. It's
Yeah,
totally-
you need to go outside where it makes your face hurt, and
Yeah.
then you'll stop expanding as much.
That's
all
not
right,
working.
so that was my number 2, and apparently, Couch Mike's number 2.
Yeah, it was my number 2, so I'll just real quick slap an honorable mention on here because I think it deserves the hype it's getting, and that's the White Castle.
Oh,
The
Just
White
don't play it.
Castle. What's that, Mike?
Just don't play it at 4.
Is it too long at 4?
Yep.
I didn't think
I've
you
only-
liked this game, Mike. I heard you talk about it, and it just didn't
No.
sound like you enjoyed it very much.
No, I like this quite a bit. What you're referring to is that almost every single person I've seen that has spoken about this game on social media or even creating content talks about its length. And so everybody thinks it's too short. At 2 players, I wanted to immediately play it again. That tells me it's just the right length. I could see it dragging at 4, but I also find it interesting the play count on the box. I think they just put 80 minutes. And I think that's why they didn't mess with the round length, because it would have went if this is a 4-round game at 4-player, this would turn into a 2-hour game, and it just should not be a 2-hour game. But I really enjoyed this one. I guess keep it at 2 or 3 for player count, but it's definitely got different types of workers that are doing different things that synergize with each other. It's just the art's really nice. I gotta say though, those bridges, worthless, unfortunately, because they block information on the board. If you put a component on the board that's completely extraneous and it blocks vital pieces of information on the board, I'm taking that off of the board every time. It removes a cost you have to pay, or it hides it anyway. Really good though. It's all
at the table.
yeah, so but it's really good. I like the engine that you're building in this. I like how you can collect income. And it seems like the number values on the dice are weighted well. There's some dice placement games where, well, you got to roll a 5 because that's the spot that gives you. It didn't seem like that to me. Those 6s are really powerful on your player board, but you have to build those up before they become powerful. But yeah, I found this one really good, and like I said, I wanted to play it again just immediately.
Can you
I
get
love
sliders
what
or
it's
chicken
doing.
rings with this?
The what?
I said, can you get sliders or chicken rings with this?
Oh no, don't
Because
even.
every time I hear White Castle, it just makes me hungry.
Yep. Any chance I get to eat White Castle, I'll do it. I love what it's doing. I really enjoy the game. Just 4 players it's Red Cathedral for me too. Red Cathedral is brilliant. I love it. Borrows a lot from an older Ravensburger game called Asara, but does the same. Does it differently. But I would never play Red Cathedral at 4 players. It doesn't work. It's way too long, and you're just like, we have to do this again. This one at 4 players, it's just too long. And with the stacking of the dice, when it becomes your turn again, the board stages change. You can't plan ahead because the dice can be taken, and if the dice aren't taken, great, but the spot was taken. So there's so many things that can happen in the 3 turns before it's your turn that it's very difficult. You have to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. You feel really great when you can get that engine to trigger, and you feel really good when you get like the courtesans to go up the castle. Like it all works. I love what it's doing, but 2-player, I don't even know if I'd play this at 3. Maybe I'd try it at 3, but never again at 4. And I like it. Like I really like what the game is doing. At 4 players, it was just same with Red Cathedral. It just takes too long to get through. It should not take that long.
I had a choice between playing this or 3 Ring Circus at the BGG Hotness at the BGG Con last year, and I went 3 Ring Circus, but I wish I could have gotten onto this table after that, but it was just too busy.
Well, they were probably playing 4-player games that went on too long, but
they were, yeah, they were.
Right. All right, so that was kind of just my my honorable mention to replace Arnak.
Mike, does your number 1 have time travel?
Yes, it does.
Okay, I didn't step on yours.
No. So
you step on his next time.
I know, right? No,
my favorite worker placement game of all time is Anachrony, and I have been playing it a lot on BGA recently.
Did Chris predict that?
What was that?
Did you pull up Anachrony before he mentioned it?
Yeah, wow. He said time travel, worker placement. What else could it be?
You say that, yeah,
that's good.
To me, the amazing thing about this game is that to fully explain it to a new player, you need to tell them a cataclysm is about to happen, and it is going to destroy the central city here, and through it, we are going to learn time travel. You'll be borrowing resources from yourself in the future, but in future rounds, you must pay those resources back to your old self, or you break the space-time continuum. I love when a theme can help you explain rules, and this is the most thematic, heavy game I think I've ever played. Why is there a planning phase where I have to put my exosuits out onto my board? Well, because the central city is radiated. I can't just go out there by myself, so I got to put on an exosuit. but I can do my own player boards in my own little building because that's not outside, that's indoors. It's just really smart. It's really crunchy. The more I play it, the better it gets, and that is why it became my number 2 game of all time, because of BGA plays. It's
Wow.
just fantastic. Yeah.
It's
I need
really
to play
good.
this one again. I've only played it twice. I have like the big box, the original box and stuff. It's one of those that, like you were just describing, I want to do this, but in order to do that, I have to do this, then this, then this. I think it's a bit arduous for me, but I did really like the
Sure.
pay yourself in the future thing,
Yeah.
or pay yourself back and all that. The time travel thing was pretty brilliant. I really did like a lot of it, so I need to get back into it.
Yeah, I have not tried any of the expansions yet, and it still just absolutely blew me away. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of one of those games that makes you think in steps. You're like, okay, I really need to build a building this round because I need to travel back in time and give that resource back to my old self. So I need to go here and get that resource so then I can build, and then on my next turn I'll be able to travel back, and it's so good. Those decisions in this game just really, really come together for me.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah. Good game. Yeah, I need to learn it again. And that's the thing, is I have to relearn it. It's been so long.
It is a lot to learn. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, good number one. You got some thumbs up from Bob in the comments there. My number one is probably the only Take That game that, and it's not only Take That, but it has such a Take That element in it that it's the only one that is probably on any of my lists, because it's so good and it has to have that bit in it. But it's Dominant Species.
Mm.
So Dominant Species. Okay, so you are representing a type of species that is trying to dominate, basically, right? The board looks so boring, honestly, but you put your little pieces out on different tundras and swamps and things like that, and you start spreading out, and other people's stuff is spreading out as well. But the worker placement part is where as you start putting out, all these little green spots are the placements where you can go, right? And as you start putting out your workers, everybody puts out all of their workers in turn order. And once all they're out, you start at the top and you just run the whole thing. So if I put my worker down here first, and then you put your worker up here, and then I come back here, I could put my worker in here again, so I get to do this action twice. But if other people come in and fill in this spot because I'm out here putting workers in other spots, I'll never get to do that action. And then it starts creating this whole I'm doing really good over here, but doing really poor over here. And then at the very end of it, someone gets to win because they didn't choose to do a lot of this stuff, gets to win a screw everybody else card that's over at the end that maybe not everybody else, but somebody.
The Cataclysm card.
Yeah. Has this and I didn't get it to where I can read them because they don't blow up. Yeah, and it looks like this.
It looks so bad.
It does look so bad. It's an amazing game.
The only GMT game I'll play is Battleline. Otherwise, they're just like, oh god.
It's an amazing game. These people had to put little pictures and stuff, but I'm trying to show the board over there, and they won't show me a good
Who
picture.
knew that Chris was such a fan of the Cones of Dunshire?
I know, it looks like the Cones of Dunshire, right?
It looks like a prototype.
It does. It does. But it's a great game.
You've talked about it numerous times and how good it is. I'd play it.
It's so strong. And the thing is like, it's brutal. Every decision you're like, oh, but I got to do this. But if I don't go there, I know Mike's going to go there, and then I can't do it in the order that I need it to be done. I'm not going to get the one thing that I need to make this action like down here actually work. It's this whole planning thing, and then see if it happens like you want it to. And then somebody gets one of these cards. It's just like, yeah, next round you're going to be screwed because this thing happens, or this whole habitat just turned to ice. Now everything that can't live in ice dies. You know, stuff like that. Yeah. So I accurately described it, and whether you like it or not, that's what it is. But you get to play either the primates or bugs or spiders, or you know, you're picking different species, so you have your own special abilities. That's fun.
And you could be dinosaurs?
You can't be dinosaurs, no.
There's dinosaurs on the cover.
Yeah, because they die and then everybody else rises to be the dominant species after the dinosaurs. It's how I've always understood it.
It's right after that, but I always thought it was kind of lame that they put dinosaurs on the front.
Yeah, that's misleading. Well, I guess if you put spiders and bugs on the cover, not many people would buy it.
Right. It's too bad that the designer just recently passed, because you could really do like a re-implementation of this.
Well, there is
a
marine one or something. I haven't played it, but it came out just before he died, or just as he, just after, like he had worked on it or whatever. But I haven't played it, so I don't know how to play it.
But even if you just took original OG dominant species and just updated all of the components and everything, I feel like
I don't know why you couldn't, because someone somewhere in his estate or family or somebody must still get, you know.
Just say, hey, we want to give you money to redo this game, and we want to update it.
Yeah.
I think as long as you honored the original contract, I think that would be,
because given how games have evolved, no pun intended, since then, right? Wow. I mean, there's just so many things you could do to.
I really don't know what I would change in this, honestly.
I'm just looking at components specifically, just components. Just make all the components look better.
Yeah, the game itself is tough on you, and then people can be tough on you. But usually, everybody targets the person who's doing really well, so it's almost like a runaway leader fix. Yeah, and you can see it coming. You can see what cards are available. You're like, I have to be the one to get the card to do this, so that nobody grabs that card and does it to me, that kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, it looks like that. But that's my number one.
It looks like that.
It looks like that. I can't defend it. I'm an artist and graphic designer, but that's my number one.
That says a lot.
What year did it come out? Like 67, 1967?
Oh, God. Oh, no, BGG.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Yes, 2010.
Oh, no. Is it 2010?
That's my guess.
That sounds about right. I was thinking 2012, but
I think it's a Board Game Geek thing, because I tried to look it up over here and it's not happening.
Is Aldi watching?
No, this is one of the. Well, luckily, maybe he's in there fixing it. Yeah, it's that's.
It is down.
Doesn't Aldi know not to do any upgrades to BGG on Monday nights? Come on.
I wish he had been. I wish that had happened whenever he was on the show. That would be fun.
Oh, that'd be great.
It happens. They're probably updating something. But anyway, we'll figure it out in a minute. Just in time to not show everybody what your game is, Mike.
I'm on it. Before I mention my number one, I do want to point something else out that just occurred to me. Remember when I was showing you this?
Yeah.
And we're making fun of how Tim looked like Lobot?
Yeah.
You see Tim's name?
Timbot.
Timbot.
I knew I was screwed.
I'm just saying. I don't know why I didn't notice it earlier, but
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That has been my gamer tag and everything except for PlayStation, because somebody took it by the time I got it on PlayStation. Timbot has been my gamer tag for forever. Since
like 1980?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Since I had to use the AOL hour, like the dial-up disc, like, I got 20 more hours of AOL time here.
Or the year that you saw Empire Strikes Back and fell in love with Lobot?
Yeah. Also true. It's like, are you my daddy? And he said,
I want to be just like you.
yes.
All right. So I'll go to my number one. This game, I don't know why it doesn't get played often enough. I fucking love it. I try and grab a copy every time I see a copy at a flea market or at a con. It's a Days of Wonder game, and I know Days of Wonder usually does one a year, and sometimes they don't hit. Sometimes they're fantastic. But this one came out in 2011. It's ranked 2606, which I feel is just a crime. It's called Cargo Noir.
I'm
Oh,
aware of
seriously?
this. Yeah.
I love that game. So you have you start with 3 boats. You are a crime syndicate. I'm sure they're very stereotypical, so it would need an upgrade to today. But you are a crime syndicate, and you have 3 boats, and there are locations on the board where you're going to go and smuggle some stuff out of it. You send your boat to a location with a certain amount of coins, and then you put all your boats out. Other than the locations, you can either go to the casino to make some money. You get 2 coins for every boat that's there, or you can go to the market, the black market, and trade tokens for other tokens that are there. There's 10 available. You can trade 1 for 1 for each boat, 1 that you have for 1 that's in the market. Objective is, there you go. The objective is to get a set collection. The more you have, the more you trade in for points. So I put all my boats out, and then let's say it's Tim's turn. Then on one of those outside locations there. Now, if I have a boat with 2 chips on it, 2 coins on it, Tim can push me out by putting a boat and 3 coins on it, or 4, as long as it's more than what's there. And then when it comes back around to my turn, since I'm there, and let's say Tim put 3 and I have 2, I can either put 2 more coins there to now beat Tim, and now we're jockeying for position in that thing, or retreat and just pull my boat and pull my coins. I don't lose my coins. I get my boat. Now I get to put my actions back out there. The decision on when to, and also the market becomes this really weird thing where the tokens you're getting, whether they're guns or cigarettes or weapons or whatever it is, there's wilds, and the wilds come out, and all of a sudden everything's worth more because the wilds really help you. The decision to stay in or to pull out is always an interesting decision to have. But then, do you go to the casino? Do you go to the market? Do you trade your stuff out? How do you get more of those things? Not the boat, because that's the first player. More of those things. Why do you have all wilds in your hand? That's wild.
Because I'm wild. I like that.
Really cool set collection. Really cool decisions to make. It's super easy to teach. You're up and playing it really quickly. The drawing from the bag, hoping your stuff comes out. Yep, like that's one of that will always get 1 chip on it. So it might be a wild or it might be a gold, and you know that I need the gold, so you're going to put 2 coins down there to force me to put 3. The other thing is, as you go and you gain points to trade in, there's this card system, and you get these extra storage spots, or you get your extra boat, because you can have up to 5 boats, but you gotta buy the boats. And then you can work your way up to nightclubs and villas and all these things that are all worth points at the end of the game. So you're gaining all these tiles in the set collection manner to trade them in for points, which are giving you cards, which are giving you end game points. That system works really well, and I love the game. The theme, I get it. The game is really, really fun. Yeah, dust it off. I literally will pick up a copy anytime I see it. They're usually not expensive because it's not a popular enough game to warrant it. But like, I've gotten multiple copies in a row for like $10. So there's
Nice.
like 2 in the library. I have 2 or 3. Like it's one of those games that I'll pick up because you can play it really easily and teach it really easily, and it's always a good time.
Nobody ever talks about this game. I was surprised you brought it up. I've never heard you bring it up.
I love it. I love it. It's so much fun.
I will question, is it worker placement or just bidding?
Well, you have your boats, which are your workers that are going to different locations to do the bidding, but you can also put them in the casino and put them in the market. So depending on where your workers go, you get to do the action that's there.
If you get to stay there. It's like Cyclades when you put your little marker on a space. Aren't you just making a bid?
I have yet to play Cyclades.
as someone who has played Cyclades, I feel like but I have not played Cargo Noir. I feel like what Mike's describing is your options are a little more permanent than they are in Cyclades. Like Cyclades, yeah, you're trying to bid to do things in different areas, and
I guess it's worker placement with bidding, basically.
yeah.
Because if you go to the casino, you get like the location's ability is 2 coins for every boat that's there. If you go to the market, the location's ability is trade a tile you have for a tile that's in the market. And if you go to the outside, you get to do the bidding in that area. So you're vying for control or I almost said intimacy. Influence. In the location to get the 3 or 4 or 5 tiles that are there. And then you're putting your coins in there to strong arm people out to make them decide, is this really worth 8? Like there's 4 tiles there. One of them's a wild. 2 of them are matching, which is good points. But is it really worth me putting 8 coins down? Like it makes it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it. It's also got that very easy barrier to entry to teach people and get up and playing really quickly because you're teaching them a few rules and you're off and going.
Right.
I don't know what you're doing. It's a little weird.
Trying to virtually. There we go.
I was wondering the same thing, Mike, but then it did make sense eventually.
Mm-hmm. He force pushed you over there, Mike.
It was. It felt more like the Mallrats version of force pushing, where he's like,
Right.
I think I made the cigarette finally move.
I should do like this and go.
Oh,
right.
It felt like I needed to grab my phone and dial 911. That's what it felt.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, I don't know where he's in Texas. Can somebody go to Texas? And
just looking, there aren't that many places in Texas.
No, it should be easy to find.
one of the smallest states in the union.
He said Houston. It can't
To
be
be fair, it's mostly desert.
All right, so number 1, Cargo Noir. If you haven't,
Nice.
play it.
Jim, you'll bring us home with your number, not 1 because 1 already got stomped on.
No, yeah, but that's all right. My number 1 is still it's a badass game. It is number 1 with a bang. I can feel really good about this being number 1. This is a really, 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 really good worker placement game from Renegade Games. Came out in 2022. It is app driven. It is my father's work. This game is super cool. The storytelling element of this game, you got, you just basically, you pick like a scenario and the box comes with at least 3, I believe. And then you're going to pick one of those scenarios, but then you've got an objective, and whether or not you meet that objective and to what level you meet that objective is going to determine what the next generation. So you've got this whole, instead of a board, a player or a board for everybody, you've got a book that's maps, right? A spiral book. And so depending on how good or bad you did meeting that objective, that task that was given to you, you're going to flip that book, and now you're going to have different worker placement spots available to you. And then you've got like your butler, which can't go out into town because he's too creepy. So you can only assign him to the worker placement spots available in your own personal player board. But then there is the communal board where everybody, you can go out there. And you have this really fun track of like insanity. If you go too crazy, you lose workers because you alienate everybody. Even your wife worker will leave you, or your spouse worker will leave you. This game was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I love the epic feel of it. The components in this game are amazing. You just never know what you're gonna get, because I played it where I am crushing the objective, like I'm doing great at this, and then nobody else did it. That's like, really, guys, really? That's what we're dealing with. And then when the next generation, so you go to the thing and the story unfolds and you're like, screw you guys. I was the only one that was even trying. It's just really fun. It's really fun. The actions are all very interesting. I don't know. I just had a great time with this. I love how thematic it is. I really do. I almost put Abomination Heir to Frankenstein on this list, but I kind of like My Father's Work more. Personally, just for all the different things and the variable maps and, the way that the worker placement spots all work out.
And the production value, right?
The production value is just redonkulous.
Yeah.
Redonkulous. The components in this game are 1,000,000% over the top amazing. But yeah,
I'm not
so
in my yet.
oh yeah, mine's right over there. But my father's work could have Resurgence would have been my number one if had Mike not said it, but and my father's work would have been number two, but it was very easy to I could be just as enthusiastic and happy about my father's work being my number one as I could have Resurgence. So yeah, this game's awesome. So Chris, you have it, but have you played it yet?
I haven't played it yet. No.
Okay, yeah.
Take it off the shelf of shame.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You've got like sort of this big legacy experiment that you're working towards. You're not going to be able to do it in the first generation, but you keep building towards it, right? You keep building towards it, and yeah, cool. just very cool. My only criticism of this game was that like some of the text on the app is like narrated, and some of it is not. So some of it you just have to read out loud to everybody else. When
I got it from Kickstarter, they had not fully finished the app.
Correct.
And so I was like, well, I'm not going to play this until it is. And then I forgot about it.
Yeah, so that was our problem. We got a copy of this and we're like, we're going to do a review of it. And we're like, no, we're not, because we can't play it yet. And they did have like a thing you could print out and you could play it. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want the like actual experience of the game. And so it was probably because I believe we got this game like a month before the origins of that year that this game came out. So 2022, which would have been the first origins I went to. And then we had to wait like 3 months for the app to really be done and ready. Right. But despite all of that and some of those hindrances, when we finally got the game to the table, we were all just like, holy shit, this is so cool. Like really fun.
It's beautiful.
It's weird. It's weird. I just realized. So Dan Blanchett, who made Abomination, which you mentioned.
Yeah. Great game.
So he designed that. And then he went to Renegade and then worked on this as a developer, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, aren't you done with Frankenstein stuff yet?
Well, I mean, Abomination is so cool, and it's a completely different game. They can get lumped in because of theme,
sure.
But like the
stuff that's you're said as well.
Yeah. But the stuff you're doing in that to like make the body, and to bring it to life is a completely different thing than what you're doing in my father's work. But I just really love the epic feel of my father's work. And then when you play it, it's going to be different multiple times. Like you could play through it a ton of times. You got different endings depending on different things that you do and to what level. So it was very cool. We were blown away by it.
Nice. Very cool. Well, that's our 5. It took us 2 hours to do 5 games. That's why we don't do a top 10.
Right.
Right.
Oh man, I keep hitting.
Yeah, Richard and I did 10. We did an hour and a half, I think, hour 40.
I saw that. Yeah. When you said, let's just do 10, I was like, all right, let's see how long this goes. But
I think the problem is if you put Googs and you give us a top 10. We don't start that top 10 until 1 a.m. when we start shooting at 8. And we have a debate whether or not we even do the top 10.
Our number ones would be Tim in the car driving to work while the sun was coming up. That would be
it would. No doubt. No doubt.
Mike would be passed out in his bed on camera.
On camera.
Oh, yeah. I'd be all the way back.
Bed Mike. Yeah.
Chris would just be having dinner.
Breakfast. Yeah.
No, you have dinner so late. I don't even know you have breakfast at time.
I have breakfast at noon.
Yeah. Bonkers.
Can I throw out one honorable mention?
Just one. No, go
just
ahead.
One. I'm probably stealing Tim's thunder again, but I don't know if we were going to do honorable mentions or not. This will be fulfilling 2 backers in the next couple months. It will be available retail and that is Forges of Ravenshire from BA Games. This is a phenomenal dice placement game. You need to check it out when it comes out. I'm telling you this now because Tim and I have played this game like 3 times already.
I played
So
it more than 3, but yeah.
I know it's good. And know it's good. You are trying to compete to be the town blacksmith, and you're going to do that by building armor or crafting shields or a mace. And so you're doing this awesome resource conversion type of game. And every round you're gathering up those resources and trying to build as many axes and shields as you can. It's just really good. It's dice placement. You're going to place a die down. You're going to take something, but then you're going to take a different die that someone else placed earlier, pull that from the board and get something different. And then at the end of your turn, you're going to activate all of the dice that you've pulled.
Yeah, the dice you pull, you're going to
board.
assign to your player board, and then you're going to activate those things. And yeah, it's an engine building game that your engine is firing and giving you a metric butt ton of stuff from turn 1.
Wow.
So it's very rewarding because you always feel like you've got a ton of resources and you're getting so much stuff.
Nice.
So again, I don't put out unpublished games in these lists, but Sam's an awesome dude and he made an awesome game, and this will be out really soon, and it fits our list. So
As long as we're doing stuff that isn't officially on the list and all that. So I left off 2 games that were basically going to be my 1 and 2. So you really got my 3 through 8 or whatever it is. Because my 1 is Andromeda's Edge and 2 is Dwellings of Eldervale.
I was wondering if those were going to be on.
I worked on both of them, and it feels, I leave stuff that I work on off for the most part. So
with Chris, we have to do like top 5 games you didn't work on. Right? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I love Dwellings too.
But I have played Dwellings, and I love Dwellings. I thought Dwellings was great. So
it's really good.
So kudos to everybody that worked on that. But I obviously have not played Andromeda's Edge yet.
You haven't done Andromeda's yet.
Andromeda is going to be that much better.
We could do it on TTS.
Oh, snap.
Someone has access to
Couch Mike would hate that.
I love Dwellings. It would have made my list, but I'm like, I talk about that a lot, and I'll just leave it.
Mike, I thought you might have put it on your list just to like cater to our our hosts here.
It was tempting. I snuck a couple others on this time.
I wanted to like fire a shot across the bow after Mike said resurgence. It wasn't that Mike said resurgence. It was that he insulted me by going, well, I don't know if Tim remembers this game. Literally, I just played it like a week ago, Mike, for the first time. And I just messaged within the last 2 days that it was in the running for my game of the year that I played so far. Well, I don't know if Tim will remember this. So that's why I got
it on last week's show.
That's why I got hot about this. I probably was. So I was going to fire a shot across the bow because I knew Anachrony was going to be Mike's number 1, but I was going to say Tricarion, like Mind Clash Games. Tricarion is a really cool. I love the theme. They did that before Anachrony. And again, we talked about like sort of publishers putting out games like 1, 2, 3, 4. How many do they do before you kind of fall off? I own their 3rd one, Cerebria, but I've never played it. And then Barrage is really good from Cranium Games.
heard that. I haven't played it.
Yeah, I almost brought it up when we were talking about Zolkin, because you put your workers and your resources into this wheel, and then this wheel moves, and then after a couple rounds, and you can take actions to move that wheel, you get all your workers back, and then the resources are spent, and you get your thing, that you build. And you're building that dam, and then the water, flows through the dam, and you're going to get different things. It's a very cool, very crunchy worker placement game. But yeah, just some really fun ones and to give Mike a hard time again, because I'm not going to get to pick on him again for a day and a half. So we'll do it all over again on camera.
Yeah, I almost put a game in here until I realized it wasn't worker placement. It was Rondell, which is the Teotihuacan.
Teotihuacan.
There you go.
Yeah, Teotihuacan.
Yeah, it feels like worker placement because you're taking a thing and you're moving it, but it's actually a rondelle. And
You
it, like,
know,
I was like, oh.
I had that written down as an honorable mention and crossed it off.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no, that's not actually worker placement.
Yeah, it's not. Which is crazy, but I love rondelles, and that's why I love the game. It was going to be on my list, and I was like, oh, I gotta
If you love rondelles and you haven't played Ostia, OSTIA.
I've heard of that one.
Badass game, really good. Just played it over the weekend, and they've got a Pirates expansion coming to Kickstarter like next week. We just played it, like a prototype of it, and shot some stuff for it. Awesome. Your player board is a rondelle mechanism where you pick up, you produce those resources, and then you move, and then where you end is the action you get to take. So really interesting. Lots of really cool choices to make. Yeah, really good game. So check it out
That sounds fun. Cool.
if you like rondelles.
I do.
So I have a question for the group then. I almost put Kingsburg on the list.
Yeah.
Haven't played it.
You haven't played Kingsburg?
I have.
No, I have Kingsport
Awesome.
Festival. Isn't that the Cthulhu version of Kingsburg?
Yeah, similar. They took the influence the court on the board and they moved it to the outside with the location.
Still
It's
haven't played it,
different.
but
They
I
add more
own
to
it. I still haven't played it, but I do own the Cthulhu version.
I love Kingsburg. So I was thinking, the reason I didn't talk about it is I don't know if it would like in my head, the dice that you're putting out. So you roll 3 dice, and then on your turn you get to put them out into the court to influence the court for resources and for favors and whatever. And it's 3 dice. So you can put 2 of them together to add up to a 5, and 1 of them on the 3, or you can put all 3 of them on the 18, or however you want to do it. And it's like, all right, well, that's your influence, asking them like number 8 there for 2 gold. If your dice add up to an 8, you put it there and you get 2 gold. Like, all right, but that's just your influence on that person. But then I started thinking about it. Well, those are the people you're sending there to influence them to help you. So they could be your workers that are going out to lay the influence in your benefit or in your honor or in your whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's dicey.
Bazing.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in on this episode.
No. Yeah.
That feels legit.
But is it me creating the theme of the dice being the workers that are going out and influencing?
I mean,
I
PPG
bet-
has it as dice worker placement.
That's what
I
I was
think-
going to say. I bet it does.
It does.
I would have to read how it's thematically stated. If it's saying like you're sending influence, if it's like you're sending couriers and courtesans, right? Like to negotiate these things, that's one thing. If these are like the number of bribes or gifts you need to give, that's a different thing. I know that's semantics, right? And it's
Sure.
It says right here, players place their influence dice on members of the council.
so to me that is workers or courtesans that you're sending to influence those people.
Right, but is it your influence? Like, are you talking to that person on the court saying, "Hey, I need a favor," and giving them like a gift on the side?
No,
Or
I
are
think they're
they
the
people
go-between.
that are going in your absence.
I think they're the go-between. So they
Wow.
would make them workers.
He's got 2 Luke
And-
Lord games on there. Nice.
And with thanks to Alan's list, I think I win because I had Everdell, and I was the only
Well,
one that named.
Said Dwellings would have been my number 2. So
Yeah, but it wasn't there
This is true.
because I also mentioned viticulture, so that counts.
You
Dune
did.
Imperium is one I could have put pretty high.
Anybody that put Arnak on their list could have had Dune Imperium because everybody says they're the same game, even though they're not.
they're not the same
no.
game, but they do use very similar mechanisms.
And they came out very close to the same time, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, there's a lot of people that really like one or the other. And
Yeah.
not so much both.
Which is weird because you can like both. I
I
don't
know. I love both.
Welcome to nerd culture.
Mike and I can eat both.
I'm
Come
not.
on, you know the GIF.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
El Dorado.
Yeah.
I use it often.
You do.
That would have been, I
Um,
don't know which
yeah.
way to turn to face you. I want to turn. Nope, that's the wrong
I know
way.
it's
Turning this way.
Wrong.
Yeah.
yeah, but that's a good list. I've played
Yeah.
all those; they're all good.
That's a great list. I haven't
Go ahead.
played Whistle Mountain,
Both.
but I'd play it.
There's a weird thing with Whistle Mountain. So there's like I'm not going to explain the whole thing, but there's basically water moving up to where if you don't get your workers out of there and all that stuff, they can drown. So
Nice.
or be washed away, whatever the nice way is.
Sure.
The way that it goes up is by someone else achieving something like crazy. So I played this in a 2-player against my wife, and she is amazing at games. So she basically like drowned my entire workforce. Like destroyed it. I was like, I don't know if I hate this game or I just hate what you just did to me.
Yeah,
But
that's her reminding you of your place in this household.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
Whistle Mountain was really good though too.
Which one?
Whistle Mountain's really good.
Yeah.
And Dwellings is actually the reason I went back and bought Energy Empire from Laurie also. Because I want to see the beginning of his kind of recall mechanic. Recalling and then making that a whole extra action and then running an engine out of that. I think it's pretty clever.
Have you played Cryo?
I have not. I know that does it too.
So Cryo's an interesting one because it came after Dwellings, but he made it before Dwellings. So it was one of these things where they signed it and then it kind of sat on the shelf for a while. And then Dwellings came out and went, oh, let's make this real quick. Like everybody likes Luke Laurie games kind of thing. But it didn't have the whatever. It's still a good game, but it didn't match up to Dwellings for whatever.
That happens with movies a lot where somebody will make a movie and they'll have a actor that was not anybody when they made that movie. Then that actor hits. And they're like, oh, yeah, let's put this movie out that we've had in the can for 2 years. Cabin in the Woods with Chris Hemsworth. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 with Matthew McConaughey. Same thing.
I would say McConaughey had something before that, though.
Yeah, Dazed and Confused, too.
Yeah, Dazed and Confused.
Right. Well, that's the thing is that Chainsaw movie sat on the shelf. Nobody. And then McConaughey got big and they put it out. And they're like, hey, Matthew McConaughey's in a horror movie. Never mind that we shot it like 3 years ago and we just never put it out. But now that he's a name.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know they sat on it.
Yeah.
It's weird that they do that. I don't know why they do that.
Well, I mean, hell, they make movies and don't put them out. They will. There was a Fantastic Four movie made just so they could hold on to the rights. That was never intended to be seen, right? They just did that with. They just did that with Batgirl, the Batgirl movie. They made it, and then they filmed it, they edited it, and then they wrote it off, and nobody's ever going to get to see it.
So weird.
And it's the dumbest freaking thing ever. Like, just release the damn movie, make money. But no, they want their tax write-off for. It's such a scam.
It's the producer's thing, right? It's have a bad show so that you can call in the insurance, basically.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly right.
But
exactly
how do they
right.
do that on a movie that's not released? They're not showing any. I guess it costs money to make, so that's their loss.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they have all kinds of insurance and stuff like, oh, this doesn't quite make it here. We get money back from all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes it's just to hold on to the rights for X amount more years, right? It's like that's why Fantastic Four 2 came out. It was like, well, we better hurry up and make one. X-Men movies were kind of doing that.
Like better than one, to be honest.
Oof.
I mean, I don't like either one.
They're both bad. Both Tim Story Fantastic Four movies are terrible.
But I like Silver Surfer.
Yeah, but they could just do better with everything else.
Oh, sure. Well, we'll see what Marvel does with it anyway.
Honestly, Chris Evans as Human Torch was like the best Marvel casting for a while. Chris Evans was actually really good as Human Torch. Yeah. And then they nailed that character, that attitude, like that personality. Every other person that they cast in that movie was hot garbage. And then thank God Chris Evans got to do other stuff.
I think I was talking to Brad Brooks about this exact same thing a few days ago, and he mentioned this, which was interesting. Like, he doesn't know if you can make the Fantastic Four movie actually work, because normally you have to have at least one character that's like really awesome that everybody latches onto. But you have an invisible girl nobody will see. You have a guy that's going to be CG rock. So that's not a face you can really attach yourself to. You have a guy who's on fire. So again, that. And then you've got Mr. Fantastic, who is basically the most like stiffest personality in Marvel, all of Marvel, right? Which is kind of opposite of his power, which is strange. But
right.
it's just they might have a DC problem, which is a failure of character to make a good movie.
I feel like now if you look at the recent cast announcements for the new Fantastic Four, Pedro Pascal as Captain as Mr. Fantastic, the only bad movie I've seen him in was Wonder Woman 2, and it wasn't his fault. That movie was terrible. But he was not the issue.
One of the worst.
There was a million other problems with that movie. But then
he won't be able to bring character to the role because the role is dry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like
yeah, but I think if you have a good
is a dry character.
If you have a good story, if you could like, I don't know why it looks like in the new movie they're going to go with Galactus as the villain, which is fine, but like
kind of insane.
But Doctor Doom is like the villain, and Doctor Doom has a lot of pathos. You could really do like very cool things with Doctor Doom. You could even like
done Doctor Doom to death.
No,
have they done it well? They've not really done it right. They've not really done it right.
Not at all. But
also, it's a smart pivot with the whole Jonathan Majors thing and how they tied up Loki too. Like it's a smart pivot that they're going to do Doctor Doom instead of Kang. It makes sense. But Galactus does appear in the window in the promo picture, like it does.
Yeah.
That is so ginormous of a thing.
As long as they don't make him a big freaking purple cloud. I'm tired of superhero movies ending where they fight a pick a color cloud villain. There's so many bad superhero movies where they just fight a cloud at the end. I mean, you go to the Ang Lee Hulk, right? Nick Nolte's kind of the absorbing man, but he's a cloud at the end. They made Galactus a cloud in Fantastic Four 2.
I mean, they did a great job with Ego, right? For
Ego was not a cloud, right? Ego was great.
But they did a great job of them not like shooting at a planet. They actually fought him.
Yeah, they personified him, And again, you have good actors, you have good writing, you have good story. Fantastic Four. Listen, if you can make The Incredibles, you can make Fantastic Four. The Incredibles is Fantastic Four. It is. You can do it.
Pretty much.
You can do it. I'm just saying. Yep. I understand what you're saying with like the faces and all that stuff. It's just that Michael Chiklis kind of sucks as an actor. He's not as good as people thought. I mean, he was hot because he was on The Shield at the time. Chris Evans was like really the only good actor. Jessica Alba can't act her way out of a paper bag. She's always been terrible. She was hired because she has a pretty face. I mean, she's gorgeous, but she can't act. And then the dude that plays Reed Richards, I can't even name. Like,
I actually like him as an actor. I can't name him either, but I like him as an actor. I saw him in this show that was so upset that it got canceled. It was called like Immortal or something. And the concept was that, so he was this guy who, it was like a medical examiner in New York, right? And he's doing his normal medical examiner thing, but then he gets killed by somebody, and he wakes up coming out of the water, buck ass naked, and like swims to the shore. And apparently he's been doing this since like the 1600s. He gets killed, and he appears in the closest body of water alive again, and like his body disappears and all that. So it causes this whole issue because the killer, like, I killed this guy, and now he's walking around like he hasn't killed or anything. And then, there's this really intriguing stuff that then starts happening and all, and you're like, why is this happening? And he meets someone else that's like him, only he's like a serial killer, and it's like really crazy. And then they just ended it.
That show sounds awesome.
It was amazing. It was great.
I kind of want to watch it right now.
It had what's his name from Taxi, Alex. He was the dad in Independence Day.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can see his face.
Yeah,
yeah.
Older,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Jewish guy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
He's in a ton of stuff. He's in so much stuff.
Yeah, so he plays his son, who is like aging and dying, but he never dies. Like the guy, the immortal guy, right?
Oh, right.
Judd Hirsch.
Judd Hirsch.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, it was an amazing show, and I was like, I can't wait till season 2, and then they just canceled it.
But anyways, there was just so many things wrong. I had really high hopes for the Fantastic Four reboot with Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan. Again, you got really good actors, but then studio interference.
I like Michael B. Jordan, but
I'm
worried about the characters. I just don't think the characters and the bad guy Galactus is just so.
I mean,
he's a natural force. He really is just a cloud.
You could just do Annihilus. You could do so many. There's so many Fantastic Four villains you could go. They don't have like the best rogues galaxy like Batman or Spider-Man, but they've got a good rogues galaxy. Rogues gallery. Where they got a lot of guys they can pick from. And you could do really interesting things with it.
I guess I'm more interested in X-Men. I was always a big X-Men fan. Whenever, so they do that next, it's going to be awesome.
Was it Matthew Vaughn that did First Class and Days of Future Past, and then they went downhill like significantly? Like
Days of Future Past was good. First Class was okay, and then
First Class was fine. It was setting everything up. Everything else was terrible after that.
Yep.
Rise of Phoenix and Apocalypse was terrible. X-Men, if you're gonna, Bryan Singer, X-Men 1 was good enough. X-Men 2 was really good, and then 3 was terrible. And Wolverine, we don't talk about Wolverine Origins because that was also terrible.
It had so many good parts though that were just fucked up by so many bad parts.
Yeah.
Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth was a great casting.
Oh, he was awesome. Even the Gambit, and it had so many good moments that were just ruined.
I'm really legit hoping that Deadpool 3 fixes so many things, and it looks like
I haven't even seen the trailer, so don't spoil anything for me.
Spoiler alert: Wolverine's in it.
Well, I already knew that.
Yeah, right. I know.
The only thing I've seen is whenever Ryan Reynolds is sitting on the couch, he's like, "We're bringing back Deadpool, and we're bringing back Wolverine," and he walks behind him.
And he says, "Hey, Hugh, you want to do one more time?" He's like,
"Yeah, sure, why not?" Yeah.
Yeah, there's not enough. I don't know that there's enough in the trailer to spoil too much. I won't say.
I hear that there's people coming and stuff. I don't want to hear who those people are.
I won't. There's one tie-in to another existing Marvel thing, and I won't say what it is to not spoil anything. But really, they don't give you a ton. There's a few Easter eggs that people may have thought that they have seen, which could be cool. But I mean, for the most part, it looks straight up just like a Deadpool movie. Ryan Reynolds walking around being Deadpool, doing his shtick. And
they're gonna shit on Fox every chance they get.
Yeah. I did like the pegging joke where he's like, I don't know if Marvel's ready for that. Like, I'm used to pegging, but
yeah, and Disney now too, right? Like,
or it was Disney. That's what it was. I don't know if Disney's ready for that. And he looks at the camera, but that joke doesn't give anything.
Thing, right?
Yeah.
Their Marvel Spotlight that's supposed to be a little more mature kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, the Wolf by Night was awesome. Werewolf by Night.
Oh, that was amazing. I hope they do more stuff like that.
Give me all of that. Give me Midnight Suns, all that shit. Give it to me in that form.
Did you see Wolf by Night in black and white?
Only watched it in black and white. I don't
want to watch it in color.
I don't want to watch it in color. I would if it was on, but I'm not going to actively choose to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Only interested in seeing it in black and white. I love the choice.
I'm pretty sure Couch Mike is sleeping.
No, he's a movie guy. Sorry. I could come on with you guys and just go Marvel, DC, whatever, nonstop. My apologies to Couch Mike because, he enjoys it, but he is not as fanatical as I am. Yeah.
No, and I don't know Actor Association, so that was 20 minutes of 50 names. I don't know.
That's okay, Mike. We can't all be perfect.
We still love you. But yeah, this was awesome. Actually, so what we need to do is we need to have Chris on, and then we'll have Googs on with us on our show in a couple of weeks. And then we will let Chris pick a top 5 that we want to do. And then we can also argue about whatever other nerdy shit we want to argue about.
We already picked the top 5, I thought.
Did we? What was it?
The top 5 games for Couch Mike.
Oh yeah, Couch Mike games.
I can't even
have to bring it. Wait, you know what? Technically, I do have a couch over here, like a little love seat. I could just change where I film and
I
just
got a futon right here. I could just
we all do it from the couch.
just
Yeah,
lay
we
right
all
there.
do it. We all do it from the couch. No guarantees I don't fall asleep.
Yes.
Yeah, I could just cuddle up with Batman over there.
Yeah, that's hot. Is that Batman or Bat Mike?
That's Batman holding a bunch of Flamecraft dragons.
As he should.
Too close.
And that fucking creepy Mopkin in the background.
What, my puppet?
Yeah, your puppet.
He's wearing Jane's hat from Serenity.
Yeah.
Firefly.
I saw a dude at a convention, just like a local one, a couple weeks ago, and I had some. Actually, it's funny you say Flamecraft. I had some Flamecraft promos I was handing out that I got, and I walked up to this table, people playing board games. I didn't know any of them, and I'm just like, "Hey, does anybody have Flamecraft? I've got some promos." And this guy's like, "Oh, I've got one," and I'm like, "Well, here you go, sir." And I go, "I'm not going to call you sir. I'm going to call you Jane." And I gave him his thing because he had the hat on. He's like, "Yeah, that works." But yeah, badass.
Nice.
Now I got to figure out my Lobot costume.
You're wearing it.
I mean, I'm living it, and I just hat off, headphones to the side so they're not over the top, and then I just need like a gray shirt.
You just need a gray vest.
There you go.
Yeah,
You got to shave this.
I know that'll be sad.
That's all. The gray vest with a weird collared shirt.
Yeah, I just don't know if I can perpetually look that disappointed. I guess I could just hear Mike's like sports teams picks.
Oh, just remember, Mike took your number 1.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
There you go. There's a Lobot face.
yeah, because Lobot is not mad; he's just disappointed.
Drafting games is a good idea.
Drafting's good.
I've done that.
Yeah, that could be cool.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be
Or
cool.
bag builders. Talked about bag builders.
Well, Couch Mike doesn't like bag builders. Otherwise, I'd say let's do that one.
Oh, yeah, man.
You don't like bag builders?
No, I'm just kidding. He loves bag builders. I'm just trolling him now.
I wish there were more. I don't think there's enough.
Honestly, I agree. There needs to be more.
Well, that's why I made one.
But yeah, let's do that.
Wonderlands War this last weekend too.
You did what now?
I played Wonderlands War for the first time this last weekend too.
How many players?
4.
How was your runtime?
I don't know.
Was it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I played at 5 and I was in hell.
Really?
It was too long. It was way too long. I hated it.
Really?
It did interesting things, and I'm like, this game's taking way too damn long. I for what it is, I need to be done with this.
I mean, it's only 3 rounds, right? Did you go through the stuff?
Also, I had very much struggled with the ending the battles at specific times or whatever part of it.
It was all of our first time playing too.
Yeah, I was in misery.
Happens.
I noticed that there are 2 different kinds of bag builders, right? 2 generic versions. So one is like your Orleans or Altiplano, where you're pulling things that are either actions or resources that you can do for that turn. The other one is the luck of the draw, the Quacks of Quedlinburg, or the Wonderlands War, where it's like you're basically almost playing war, right? You're like, how about this? Does this beat you? Especially in Wonderland, You're like, okay, well, you have 5 straight. Now I have 3 straight. It's like blackjack. You go bust or something like that. It's, what's it called?
Push your luck.
Push your luck. Thank you. Yeah. So it's that push your luck kind of thing. And I think I lean towards the more Altiplano Orleans one. That's the one. That's how we designed Whisperwood. But the other one is still fun. It feels totally different.
For sure.
All right. Well, let's see. We'll figure out a top 5 and all that stuff. What are we doing next week, Mike? Do you know? Awesome. We are prepared.
Does he look like a guy that has a plan?
That's not true. What's next week?
I thought you already told me what we were doing.
Andrew, who was on earlier, is recording a podcast on Monday. If he can get that podcast moved, he will be on the show. So we'll talk about Wine Cellar. We'll talk about the one that we got with him. I don't know what our topic will be, but he is I did not know when he was on their show. I did not know his history at being such an aficionado and a professional in alcohol.
A sommelier, yeah, for sure.
I loved listening to that whole thing, and I feel like I don't want to reiterate a lot of it, but I had some questions.
No, dude, he's so brilliant. Talk to him. He's so good. He's so good. And if you haven't already, everybody should be listening to their podcast, the Tabletop Submarine.
Submarine. Yep.
It's really good.
Cool.
I haven't met his cohort over there, but he's great. They do a good job.
I met him before I met Andrew. Andrew was introduced me through Daryl, and we just hit it off immediately. But I had met Josh before.
We have the actor.
I'm here.
Got it.
I work cheap. I would do scale. I work for scale. Let's go.
Can you get for our next show? Can you get a cardboard sign that says "Will Lobot for board games"?
Oh shit!
Okay.
Yes. That's so good.
So next week could be Andrew Styles. It might not, depending on that.
If not, we'll do our top 5 Pixar movies.
Done.
Whatever.
I do it.
Cool. They'll probably be all the same.
Maybe.
All right. Well,
on the show this week on Wednesday. Who's your?
Kim Breeze. We've got Kim Breeze on. We're doing top 5. Or is it top 5? Top 5 characters from the 80s and 90s.
90s. That's what it was. Right.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, TV and movies. So many to choose from.
Live action or cartoon?
Your choice.
I mean, Mr. Belvedere is going to be your number 1, right?
Wesley.
I don't know where that came from. All right. Well, thanks, Board Gum Rundown, for coming. Board Gum?
Yeah.
Board Gum Rundown.
We're easy.
Board Game Rundown.
Rundown? What the hell are you doing?
I don't know.
He was the only one not drinking tonight.
What the hell? You're usually good with that stuff.
What's in those peanut butter M&Ms you're eating?
Tired. Yeah, I'm eating peanut butter M&Ms.
Those are my favorites.
They're pretty good. The first one I was like, this isn't that great, and then I just keep popping them, and they're better and better.
They get better. That's how I feel every time. But I eat them, and then by the end of the bag, I not only hate myself, but I like them more than when I started.
Yeah, don't look at the calorie count. It's bad.
No.
Don't get bad when you crack a second bag.
Yeah.
That's why I have a bowl. I can't. I'm not allowed to bring the bag up to the office.
It's ambiguous.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, everybody. Board Game Rundowns link is in our description. Go check them out. Go subscribe. Subscribe here too while you're at it.
You should.
All that crap.
Yeah. You know what you should do is that.
Oh yeah. There you go. I forgot about that thing. Yeah. Every time you like a video here, a little tear runs down our cheeks. It's amazing.
Yeah, and Chris can't physically cry, so it's the only way that he gets to cry. So if you
Angel gets wings, pigs don't get eaten or something, whatever it is.
I'm still eating bacon. I'm sorry. I don't care how many people like your show.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
It was fun.
Yeah,
Thank you
guys,
so
always
much. It was a
Always
blast.
a pleasure seeing
All
you.
right.
There we go. Laser light show.
Hey, wait. Does anything happen if you Vulcan?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. It sucks. then.
We're just gonna all live long and prosper.
Oh, that's way worse.